Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 171. It's me. I'm here. Jack, here over across the table.
Yes.
There you go. He's speaking. And we're back down in the basement. We're going to talk about another week from the world of professional wrestling.
Yes.
An in-depth review of AEW Dynamite. We'll look at NXT. It was Halloween Havoc, I guess. Night one. And you watched it again. They can't hear you nodding. It is not a video podcast. But anyways, he's nodding. It was Halloween Havoc. We also watched some Bound for Glory. He's going to say he only watched one match. So he watched one match.
Well, most of one match.
Yes, that's true. It did hurt a bit. I'm not going to lie, having probably almost a third of it gone for commercials when you watched it. But we did. I watched all of Bound for Glory. Jack watched a little bit. So we'll talk about that as well. News and rumors will start off. Some trivia. Do you have a figuring update this week or no?
No.
Nothing new?
There's nothing.
Other than you just said you saw a few weird old basics in the Walmart. The
Elites.
local. Oh, they were elites. I thought you said basics.
Mm-mm.
So it's Apollo and who else?
Santos.
And they're like a year old or whatever?
At least.
Nice.
Because 106 just got revealed and that they're from 87.
Oh, that is old. Very old. Well, we're just coming off a week off, right? From school and work. We're doing this on a Friday night, so we won't have any news from SmackDown, I don't think.
Depends how long we take to get there.
But we kind of had a lazy week, which I'm okay with because your brother still had school. But we escaped for one day and did a epic IKEA run because you needed to update your room.
Epic is not the word.
It's never quick there, but you figured out the secret. What's the secret to getting through IKEA?
Going as fast as possible.
And
spending $1 on a hot dog.
eating as much as possible was your plan. We stopped at even though it's at the exit, we hit the food part first, right? Got a $1.50 chili dog that you said was pretty good. And your mom approved of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I got a coffee and you got some sort of weird juice. I don't even know what the berry was.
Wasn't it lingonberry?
Lingonberry. I don't know what that is. But
I don't know what that is.
Is that even a real berry? Who knows?
No.
I'm going to trust them.
They're Swedish, so it might be fake.
And then about halfway through the store, we stopped to just eat a full-on meal for pretty cheap in IKEA. It wasn't bad, right? Like,
No,
I don't
it's
know.
good.
It wasn't terrible.
Especially when you consider how much you're spending.
So you finally got your bed upgraded and a little bit of furniture upgraded.
Now we just need the shelving.
Because you are a large man now, so you outgrew a bunch of stuff. And yeah, some shelving to display all of your... You are a collector of collections, which is going to be a problem at some point.
Probably not.
Well, I don't know where all these collections are going to go, but...
Anyways, that's future me's problem.
That's future me's problem, unfortunately, as the owner of this house.
Still not currently a problem.
True. And yeah, so I don't know, your brother's been playing volleyball. I've been at a couple of his games, and he's got basketball all weekend, so that's why we're recording tonight. Anything new from your life? I can't think of any.
I think we just talked about it.
We didn't go to zombie wrestling. We were supposed to go tonight, but again, things just got really busy. We didn't know when we were going to record. And the tickets for this zombie wrestling were a little bit pricier than I anticipated.
Right.
Like, I think with fees in, they were like $60 each, and I wasn't even sure what we'd be walking into, so we're going to put it on hold. But we did just see that GCW, not that GCW, but Great Canadian Wrestling, that I think we've been to handful of times, 4 or 5 times. We talked about it on this show. What's the big dream match they're doing there? I sent you.
Wasn't it Victoria and Medusa? I don't know how that...
Victoria and Medusa are coming to beautiful Oshawa, Ontario.
I don't understand how that gets...
That's where their
GCW.
careers are at.
But like...
I don't mean to be rude.
GCW is so small, though.
It is so... And maybe they're doing it because GCW does a lot of charity stuff. Maybe that's the pull, but I don't think there's a lot of calls for Victoria and Medusa. But could be wrong.
I don't even know why they're still wrestling. And then also why... I don't know how... Like, it's just so random that they're coming here.
And pre-wrestling you knows Medusa from her other career, which was what?
Monster Trucks.
Which she did appear on... she was on WCW, right? With the truck? I want to say yes.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. Depends on when she started.
That's what I'm saying. You have some of her trucks somewhere. Take them and get her to sign them. That'd be hilarious.
They're old and dirty.
So I don't know. I might be interested in going to see that. It's November 11th, so we can keep an eye on it if your schedule works out.
That's how you want to spend Remembrance Day instead of remembrancing?
Remembrancing the glory days of... No, that's not even true.
WCW.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I guess, like, when was Victoria? Probably, like, Ruthless Aggression, at least. Well, we just saw her win with a snap suplex.
Beat Trish Stratus in a hardcore match with a snap suplex.
Yeah. That's how you end the hardcore match.
And it was the era where they called kendo sticks Singapore canes, too. Because that was an international incident where...
And because ECW, I think.
Some American... I think we went over this before. some American person got caught doing stuff over there. I think it maybe was a teenager, and they were going to cane him. And it was like this international, how dare you physically discipline our children sort of thing.
I thought he did get caned.
I think he did, but I think they negotiated the caning down from what it was supposed to be, however many lashes. I could be wrong. It was a thing when I want to say 90s. I don't know. But anyways, that motivated them to call it the Singapore cane instead of a kendo stick. But I digress, as I tend to do. So I figure we're all bantered out here. We should probably get into some wrestling talk.
Mm-hmm.
Late news week, I thought, but most of mine are like
a week
of news, but we'll tackle it anyways because that's what we do for you. It's what we call news and rumors. All right, ratings not great for either of the shows we track, and that would be, as a sports fan, why would that be?
Sport ball.
It is sport ball. NBA season. And Major League Baseball also is in playoffs, one round away from the World Series, so that drew some viewers. But Halloween Havoc averaged 787,000 viewers, which is down 1.4%, earned a 0.21 in the key demo, down 8.7%.
Observed legally, right?
What?
You watched it legally?
Totally. We didn't battle the WWE Network at all this week.
No.
Which is something I should have mentioned in banter, but I'll circle back around to it. It faced big competition NXT did this week in the form of opening night of NBA, as well as Major League Baseball's National League. I think it was Game 7 happened for that. But we did talk about on this week off doing NXT Good Gold Days, more episodes.
Oh, you're talking about that.
But we tried as we might, and you've heard this rant before, the WWE network is a pile of steaming hot garbage.
Yeah, I want to get one of those VPNs that will let you change your location, and you can like get Peacock or whatever.
The only way it works for us is if we watch the actual cable channel, but then you're at the mercy of whatever's on at that time. We can't do on demand. I can't go on the website.
On demand,
I can't go on the app. I tried phone. I tried tablet. I tried computers, multiple. I tried our current cable provider. I tried our previous cable provider just in case it still worked. And it just keeps saying, I forget what the error is, and then it goes back to the home screen, and that's it. So we literally tried really hard. I apologize, people, that anyone out there, probably no one, but maybe someone out there waiting for us. Ghost Jam, shout out to you. At some point,
apologies to Ghost
we'll get this done, but the network is just, like, if it weren't for the fact that we watch the pay-per-views, I would have canceled it long ago, because this is a ongoing frustration.
Yeah, if it was easier to use, I would be watching things so much more.
Right, but it's absolute, and for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to have that as the situation in 2023, even if it's only just Canada that's affected, that's ridiculous.
And I personally think, and there's no bias here whatsoever, if you're gonna care about someone not in your domestic range, you should care about us.
Correct. And I will cancel WWE if AEW puts out something. I have a feeling.
I think that's the only like justification for me, is because I mean, I don't.
And we can.
Yes, I'm not paying for it, but like I like having the WWE back catalog and all that crap.
If we can access it, yes.
If AEW gets one, I will gladly spend my time rewatching the Dynamite things I've been.
And there's probably Works too, which would be a main selling feature for me. Like that, you can actually use it. It's a pretty good business model.
Yeah, there's a lot. I haven't watched like the network in ages because it's complicated. I mean, maybe it'll work.
Yes, this cable switch we made is tough on me right now. Learning all the new channels, and it's so frustrating. But anyways,
the only reason I like it is because now I don't have to use a VPN to get my regular YouTube. So
yeah, that's good.
I just stick to YouTube.
Sorry, back to ratings. So NXT was down in both spots due to sports, and Dynamite, similar thing, down to 774,000 viewers. That's 14.1% below the week before, and a 0.24 in the key demographic, down 22.6%. It is the lowest audience total for a Wednesday night airing of the show since June 15th, 2022. And they also went head-to-head with NBA for the first time since June, because the season's back and running. And just historically, NBA has a negative effect on ratings for AEW. There apparently are...
Yeah, because they used to move all the time, and now they had to change networks.
Yeah, and I think there are some wrestling fans who will watch basketball first, I guess, is what they're saying. All right, what do you have for news? I only have like 3 or 4 things of marginal
One
importance.
thing was, I would assume off the back of their international success this year, and last year with Clash of the Castle in Cardiff, Backlash in Puerto Rico, Money in the Bank in London.
Yep.
WWE's got on August 31st next year, Bash in Berlin.
I saw
heading
that.
to Germany.
And yes, just trying to move things around, I guess. Why not?
I just don't like when it's like that, because Bash in Berlin, so like I don't just like give them a normal pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like Money in the Bank in London and Backlash in Puerto Rico. I like that 'cause it's just like,
But actually naming one for the city?
it's
not a
just
fan?
kind of, I don't know. Clash at the Castle is okay, I guess, 'cause it's like, it's kind of in the middle ground, 'cause it's
Man,
like kind of
they
centric to that.
just love their alliteration, eh?
Yeah,
Like can't
Bash in Berlin.
can't help themselves,
Yeah, I don't know.
but do it.
It's so that's cool. I guess hopefully, like maybe by then we could get Gunther. Maybe that's when Gunther
Mhm.
gets his. I mean, he's Austrian, but whatever.
Whatever. I think that matters, but I get what you're saying.
That's what people have been saying. Yeah, but that's neat, I guess. If you're if you're listening to us and you happen to reside in Germany.
I'm sure we do great in Germany. We're killing it in Germany.
Yeah.
So from earlier in the week, there was a report that CM Punk, your best friend, was backstage
Happy belated birthday to Mr. Brooks.
at the Impact Wrestling Chicago tapings. His noted friend, Ace Steel, was backstage at the Impact Bound for Glory. Company even considered using Steel on screen, this report was saying, but opted against it due to not wanting to, like, in a way, they'd be teasing Punk being there too, right?
Absolutely.
So I think they wanted to avoid, like, being accused of bait and switch or something, so they didn't do it. And I guess Punk had previously attended an Impact event back in April, and that I don't
think
remember. But there was a lot of buzz then, apparently.
I remember he showed up at backstage at Raw once, because you remember he was talking to people, and then he also showed up at Impact once.
I think he just is like, hey, I haven't been in the media cycle for a couple weeks. I'm gonna go do something.
He was showing up around before he came back to AEW to ruin everything.
Right. So, and I told you I heard John and Way over at Post Wrestling talking about this, and it made me nervous. They're like, basically, they remember Jericho saying that he had a really competitive offer from Impact. It's not that they don't have money, right? The Anthem is a very profitable company, I guess. And
I don't even know what Anthem does.
And if you're also rebranding and you want to really draw numbers and attention,
we could talk about is they're going back to TNA.
Did we not talk about that? Yeah.
No, they're going back to TNA at the beginning of.
Which we were talking about.
Maybe we talked about it last week. I don't actually know.
And I think it's that it's far enough removed from TNA now that it is nostalgia for some people. Like, I'm in that demographic, kind of, right? Like, I was watching Impact from very, very early,
Global
if not
Force
right
Wrestling.
from the beginning. So there is a bit of nostalgia there. And I think maybe the 1000th episode show, I think they really learned that was like, people did really want the Knockouts division, and they do really want the X division to be like a focal point, right? So I'm curious. I don't really know.
I'm very mixed on it as someone who doesn't care.
We talked about it depends on what that means. They are claiming it's going to be like higher budget, bigger venues. As long as
if that means their set actually changes for the first time in like 3 or 4 years,
right,
then I'm all for that, because their set is to look the same whether the arenas are empty or
and
not.
Some of the places they frequent, and no disrespect to Canada, but there's some places in Canada that they frequent where it's not a great presentation when it's on TV. Like when we go to Rebel, it's different. It's a tiny venue, but it looks really good on TV. There's some where they go to other places where I'm like, this does not.
It didn't look great. I think it was when they went to Battle Arts.
Right. No, it wouldn't look great there. So if they're going back to, like, they have their own stars that they're building that are unique to them, that's great. If they're going back to signing all the WWE cast-offs and letting them do whatever
Depends
they want,
on who you're signing, obviously.
Right, then I'm not into it.
I would like them to then go back to the title that Moose had, that TNA title.
Yeah.
I think that design is really nice, actually.
Not
I like that
in the feud with ECW that I love so much, or with EC3.
But that belt, like that TNA belt that they had, probably it would have been like early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, remember how much I hated that feud?
Yeah, because there's the original TNA title that Kurt Angle had, and people love that. I don't like that one that much.
Yeah,
I like the 2010s one that like Bully Ray would have had, or Bobby Roode had, you know, that one. So they should bring back that for their title. And honestly, I think they should just go back to Global Force Wrestling.
No. So I'm okay with this change as long as it's sort of in the direction I want. I guess we'll see.
It's kind of dumb, but like, I guess.
I don't hear a lot of people saying they miss TNA.
Yeah,
or even that it's super different from what I guess it was. I don't know.
They're like, the whole spiel was like, they hear TNA wherever they go. It's like, I never once in my life at any show, and we've been to Impact a bunch of times, and I've watched Impact a bunch of times, and you reviewed Impact a bunch of times. Have I ever seen, heard any TNA chant at all? Never have I seen anyone say they missed TNA.
True.
And that was like a big crux of Scott D'Amore's speech.
And that segment too was like Frankie when that was not my favorite.
That was bad.
It was not great.
They
had a whole bunch of people who are bad actors, like Eddie and Alicia Edwards and Kaz. Kaz isn't great. I don't think either.
I think even like I love Shelly. I love Shelly too, and Shelly just like it just did not fit at all. And it's like so in kayfabe, like, all these, I know kayfabe doesn't really matter, but it's like
they all hate each other.
It's on TV, so it's like, to me, it's still kind of a kayfabe. So like in kayfabe, all these wrestlers who hate each other, Kaz and Eddie coming off a blood feud,
right? They just tried to kill each other,
and Alicia's there too,
right?
And they're just like talking about like, oh yeah, I miss TNA. It's like it's like a high school reunion. You're digging up like the time capsule,
and like Kaz just walks out of the water carrying this case, right? Like
he went swimming for like,
it's a bit silly.
I don't know. The whole thing is like, it's just whatever. I don't think it really,
and all the music and
Scott D'Amore, like, it was kind of cute or whatever, but like he was way too fired up, because I watched that and he was way too fired up. For
I don't know what they're expecting, but I guess we'll see. And I'm wondering if like is that why they just punted the episode this week? Like if you didn't know, this week's
that's how I watched Bailey Ospreay.
Yeah, the episode of the weekly show was them just cherry picking from Bound for Glory, entire matches of some, and then some they had shortened down.
I will be okay with this whole thing if they bring back the 6-sided ring, because personally I think that'd be really funny.
It makes them different. They might actually, that might be part of it.
I would be okay with that, because I think it's unique, but mostly I just think it's funny, because I think it, as cool as it is, will always think it's kind of stupid.
They do like to try new things.
I think that'd be cool. Then you need to bring back I think you need to bring back the TNA things that are kind of stupid but not overly stupid, like Lockdown, which is a cage match pay-per-view.
Yep.
That's stupid. But like
every match in a cage,
it would amuse me.
Which so you get no variety. It's a long night.
King of the Mountain.
No,
I don't like that, but it would also be kind of funny.
No.
And then like, what else should they? I would like at Hard to Kill, a King of the Mountain match, a blindfold cage match, because that worked out awesome. And I would also like a reverse battle royal.
Actually, I have one of my news items is that maybe I'll throw that in right now.
Okay.
My words say Booker T continues to demonstrate what a fool he is and just how out of touch he is. He believes that the TNA faction, consisting of himself, Sting, Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Samoa Joe,
Main Event Mafia,
was superior to the Bloodline in WWE. Quote, Main Event Mafia was a better faction by far, but I think the Bloodline has had one of the best runs any faction could ever have. Probably the best. To
imply that Main Event Mafia had a better run.
But I just say better faction because we had some major players, and we weren't a family. We was a faction. This, like, you don't get to comment on wrestling anymore if that's your opinion. Like, there's some governing body that goes, no.
What's going to happen next is
about wrestling.
We're going to talk about it next week on Busted Open Radio. Bully Ray's like, Aces and Eights was a way better faction than Bloodline.
Oh my God. I was very much watching at the time of Aces and Eights.
New World Order.
With Wes Briscoe.
I think it's like, well, that sounds like Horace Hogan to me.
Who else was in there?
Wes Briscoe equals Horace Hogan.
Yeah.
Well, like, I think Hulk Hogan would be making a bold claim if he said NWO had a better run than the Bloodline, and that's NWO. I think that's a bold claim, but it's understandable.
And, right. Debatable.
But who talks about the Main Event Mafia still? Who talks about the Main Event Mafia?
Because he was in it in his glory days.
Speaking of Booker T, he's making me hate Trick Williams' entrance.
Right?
I think his theme sounds cool. I think the crowd enhances it, and I think Booker T just drags it down.
He takes away from a lot of it. He's part of
it.
WWE has trained me to really not pay attention to commentary, because if I do, I just get frustrated, especially if it's a main roster pay-per-view.
With the commentary, I found, like, even when I was a kid, there was always someone I hated. I've talked about this before, but, like, when they had the 3-man teams on Raw, especially, there was always someone I hated. And NXT, too, actually, because there's, on Raw, like, 2017 era, we had Booker T
Amazing.
No surprise. I remember NXT around that era. Percy Watson.
Amazing.
I remember this one specific line
Oh my
with him and
goodness.
Morrow. From that North American title ladder match. You know, the
Yeah.
one that Cole won.
Yep.
It honestly kind of feels like a Booker T moment because it was
Shucky ducky quack quack.
I think Booker.
Comparable.
Sorry, not Booker. I think it was that spot where Killian Dane did like a suicide dive to Lars. I think that's what it was. I don't know, something like that. And Percy's like, what did you say about Big Man not doing well in ladder matches? And then, because, you know, Morrow was giving the whole spin, and then like Morrow's like, that's not what I said. And it's like, it was. I hated him. I hated Coachman in like 2018. There's always someone, man.
Always
Booker T is probably the worst one now. I think, like, if he didn't come back to commentary, it wouldn't be as bad. Oh, Beth Phoenix too.
Amazing.
I hated Beth Phoenix. I don't know. Okay.
Is it me or you?
Where we are. I think it's
we
me.
digressed a little there. That might happen because
I think way back to the original point we had though. They should not bring CM Punk to TNA.
No.
Because unless they want to die, like if
kill it from the inside, just like everything else.
Impact's like, we've survived too many times, guys. We should have died a decade ago. So let's just kill it off and
they
bring in
should
CM
have
Punk.
died 10 times.
Yeah.
Like they're like a cockroach. They just survive and survive and
I
survive.
think CM Punk would,
and I like the product a lot.
I think CM Punk could be the final nail in the coffin.
He could be
if they really wanted to.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go with this one because it's kind of related to Impact. Sammy Callahan's reportedly been seen backstage in AEW.
My next one.
Yeah.
And he left Impact. His contract expired at the end of September. 36 years old.
I don't think he should go there. I think Impact's the perfect fit for him at this state because he's edging out of his prime, and he's not like, I just don't see him like, if he were to sign with AEW doing big things. I did see that he might be going for like a partial backstage role too. So maybe if he's
otherwise
down, then
he's a fit for TNA, right? Like he seems to fit there. Fun fact, I was
gonna correct that, but I'm like, now I have to get used to it.
I know, because I can say it. That's my default is TNA, so I can go back to it. Just when I finally learned to say Impact, though, it's like, nope, switch it back. Fun fact regarding that story that I did not know.
Okay.
Do you know who he teamed with on the Indies from 2009 to
Moxley.
2000? Yeah. What was the team name?
I forgot.
The Switchblades.
Nuh-uh.
So I don't know if they included that as like he's friends with Moxley, but I don't think Callahan's a fit for AEW or WWE.
Still friends with Moxley.
Yeah, no.
Well, we know he's not a fit for WWE.
So
that experiment was done.
TNA let Callahan go, obviously, but good news for me, sarcasm, they signed PCO. He's got a new contract. He is the first signing of the new era of TNA wrestling.
Well, you're saying Impact signed him, TNA could fire him?
He says D'Amore made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he wanted to be a part of the new era.
Well, okay, but like,
I can't stand him, but he does get a good crowd reaction, and he just won the Monsters Ball.
Well, if you're 50-something and you're like, well, you should be winding down your career, let's say. He probably is. Regardless. I feel like the standard for an offer you can't refuse is lower than most.
Because offer.
Who else is signing unless he wants to do indie bookings for the rest of his career? So, and even then, what indie bookings are going to be available to him? So I feel like, the offer he can't refuse very well could just be an offer.
Yep. And like, again, don't love him, but people do. So I guess it makes sense for TNA to sign him. I'm just not personally happy. But he's going to hurt somebody really soon. I'll talk about it.
He might even hurt himself.
I'll talk about it in the Monsters Ball match. That de-animator he hits on the apron to people is just him just dropping onto... Anyways.
That's a lot of his moves, yeah.
What else do you have? I only have one more,
last one is Brock Lesnar's going to miss a Saudi show for the first time. Reportedly not in the creative mix, and tickets have been selling well enough. With everything going on, they're going to save him for later.
Save him.
I guess.
He is a draw still, I guess. He is. He's an attraction.
Well enough. And I guess on that note, Roman Reigns is also reportedly not going to hit Survivor Series. So that's surprising. Because I've seen everyone fantasy booking the champ versus champ, Roman and Seth.
Yeah.
And while I hate the brand warfare trope and I hate the champion versus champion trope, this is like the one time where you could put a storyline into a Survivor Series champion match.
Why they brought in the new GMs too, was to ramp up for this.
And why would you not book Roman versus Rollins why wouldn't you do that? There's unfinished business from the Rumble last year.
They won't.
Why wouldn't you do that? You gave us remember Roman and Big E, and that was boring as hell.
It was
and
boring
there was Roman and McIntyre in the Thunderdome, and that was boring as hell. I feel like the rest of the show could just be boring brand nonsense, but like, why would you not do that? This is like the one time I personally would be interested in a Survivor Series related champion versus champion match, because it's the Shield guys, and like everybody would be interested in that.
Not getting it.
Why wouldn't you do that? Like, that's the one, I don't care whether Roman appears or not, because we don't really care. But this is probably the one time where I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? And it's a big four. It's not even like.
And they've had good matches recently together too.
Yeah,
right?
they always.
We love that match.
They always have great matches. That was the pay-per-view saver for me.
It was.
They always have great matches, and it's a big four. It's not like he's missing. Like what? He's missed like a couple. Fastlane, Payback,
Battleground. Is that a thing? I don't even know anymore.
Not anymore. Not in a while. But like, who cares about that? But like, I don't understand that. So. That's weird. But he'll wrestle in Saudi, though.
My final one, there is a new hottest free agent available, second generation star. Did you hear who's confirmed departed from AEW?
Don't tell me.
Second generation star.
It's not Pillman.
It's not Pillman. He's already gone.
Second generation in AEW? Brock Anderson.
Correct.
Okay.
They let him go. Removed from AEW's roster page, and then he
can go team with Lexus King.
He confirmed in social media that he is departing from the company because he never really did anything and was not impressive when he did. So
okay, so the analogy I'd like to use is
analogy time.
I watched Cultaholic's video. They did cause they got the series Rise and Fall.
Yeah.
Of crap. So I watched AWA.
Yep.
Vern Gagne.
Yep.
That. There was the Rise and Fall of that, and I thought that one was interesting. It was cool, and it was because part of it was like Hogan and early Hogan, so I thought that was kind of cool. Racism aside, because there was no racism involved in this tale, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, there's always racism involved when there's Hogan, probably. But
anyways, he pushed his son a lot. And he just
did
better than
Eric.
No,
maybe I forget.
Greg Gagne.
Greg
Gagne, and it's just and he just didn't have what Vern had, and he just it reminds me of Brock Anderson. It's Arn is obviously it's a lesser version because Arn wasn't as successful as Vern was and whatever, but still everyone loves Arn, right? Or
yes,
he was revered for his time, and then Brock Anderson is just literally nothing.
Yes,
the only thing I remember him doing was getting squashed by Malachi Black.
I don't mean to be mean, but other than being Arn Anderson's kid, there is nothing. But
he just looks
exceptional.
To
be fair, Arn Anderson looked boring too. It was a different time though. You could get away with it.
It was a different time. B, he was teaming with Ric Flair.
Right.
And then in Brock's defense, they gave him nothing either.
True, but maybe he wasn't ready for anything either.
He was literally just Arn Anderson. I honestly maybe think he should go to WWE and get
join Lexus King
Performance Center, and maybe you do you get them and someone else, and you do Legacy 2.0. You get, I don't know, he didn't fit in AEW, so maybe give him something else.
Hey, at least he has some wrestling experience, and he is a second generation. He's not just a random athlete they're bringing to the PC, right? So
exactly. So in that respect, I would probably rather him there. And then you could probably now you do this weird. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Just off the top of my head here.
Gimmick infringement. It's a segment, bro.
So you have Lexus King, you have Brock Anderson hypothetically, and you have Cal Bloom.
Oh yeah,
aka Von Wagner. You have a new kind of legacy, Orton and Cody and DiBiase Jr. Obviously not. Maybe you don't call it legacy, but a legacy kind of idea. And then you have them managed by Stone. You could have them as heels or faces.
Sorry, did you include Braun? Braun as your main eventer.
I like that better.
Vaughn as your monster. The other two as your tag team.
Okay, I like that better. That improves the idea. So yeah, you include those three I'm talking about, and then you have Braun. I would be good because Braun would be a much better leading guy than Wagner. So actually, I like that a lot. Yeah,
you could have Vaughn as the monster protector, right? As the heavy.
Yeah, and he can do mid card too. Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool. Actually, I think if they were gonna bring in Brock, that's what I would do.
All right. Well, that was a good news segment. Even though there was hardly any news, we got chatting about some stuff, and I think people like that. So a lot of our opinions in there.
Unless they don't, then we just tortured them for however long.
And we're now going to shift gears into what is generally almost always our favorite show of the week. That's a little bit of hint of foreshadowing for you, and it is this past Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, let's talk about this Dynamite as I hear your brother up there screaming about some video game. I don't think it comes through on the podcast because I use the right microphones.
I don't know if that child knows how to play a game without screaming uncontrollably like a lunatic.
when I was testing out, you know how cool I am and how much I love microphones, and I come down here and just record to see what they sound
It's
like.
okay. I'm popular too.
And his some of my condenser mics, not to be nerdy, they pick up everything, and he doesn't even have to be screaming, and I can hear him coming through. These mics sort of drown out everything around us, thankfully, but some of the ones I have pick him up 2 floors above when he's just talking loudly, not even screaming. But anyways,
he's just a lot.
you think I'm trying to avoid talking about Dynamite here, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, just to avoid it a little more is actually I could probably talk about it in relation to another thing. I'll just mention now. This week the secondary shows actually look okay because Collision has
We're gonna
MJF
watch
and
Rampage
Omega.
later. Yep.
Which I will watch because MJF Omega. Hell yeah, why wouldn't I watch that? That sounds like a Collision match that could rival the tag match that I love so dearly.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, Rampage looks really cool. Like Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita. Are you kidding me? That sounds
that's
amazing.
money.
That's money. That's something that will get me to watch
Why
anything.
don't we check it out when I get back from hanging out with the dads tonight? If I'm not
Okay.
super late, I don't
Okay.
know how late it'll
Like
be.
that's something like if that was on the Dynamite up against NXT when that would get me to watch. Like if I hypothetically enough, if I'm watching either Takeshita Fletcher, hell yeah.
Take my money.
Yeah, take my money, even though it's Rampage.
Right.
And then Santana and Ortiz blow off match is that should be cool. Even though every time they do some promo for their feud, it makes me a little more sad.
Yes.
So it's just like I don't know.
They were such an awesome tag team.
They're so great
In a company that I thought was gonna pay a lot of attention to tag teams.
And they did, but it's just like they never got pushed.
No.
And I think that kind of killed them. Like, I just wish they got pushed. And I still hope someday that Michael and first name Ortiz can
Michael
get back
and
together.
Steven.
Steve Ortiz. That's what we're going
Pretty
with.
sure.
All right. Yeah. All right. We can talk about this, I guess. We kick off with an MJF interview. He calls Cole and says he's glad he got out of Roddy's house, and he asks about the surgery. Roddy comes in, shouting for Adam, who then hangs up. Roddy says Max is obviously the man behind the devil mask, but they can pretend he's not, and they'll help him against Bullet Club Gold because they have a mutual best friend. And then Roddy says, obviously, it's more his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
MJF then sarcastically thanks him and shoves him away in the wheelchair, which is pretty funny. MJF said he has a bullet with Juice's name on it, and he's not going to miss because Mello don't miss.
Exactly.
My
That's what
mistake.
it felt like.
Then we get like a glitchy cut to a few seconds of the devil mask
Ooh.
in the dark.
Right. Which, how can it be? It's supposed to be MJF. Crazy. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I thought like Roddy was amusing here again, and babyface MJF is fine. I just it just pales in comparison to heel MJF, right? So, and in this head-to-head feud, I'm preferring the work of Jay White and Bullet Club Gold, to be honest with you.
That's not saying much though. I absolutely love.
And
Bullet
I thought it was
Gold.
a bit strange that this whole segment set up by MJF, who waits until he has an interview with on camera to make a phone call. Like I thought that was kind of cheesy,
I guess.
Little setup. But this whole, I don't know. We'll come back around to it later. This whole your like main event champion, figurehead of the company or whatever, face of the company. I don't know if this is the stuff I'd have him doing. I don't feel like he needs the belt to do a lot of the stuff he's doing. But
I guess like the belt.
I don't think it's adding any prestige to anything.
Keeps a lot of people in orbit though, because
it does.
He wouldn't be dealing with Joe or Switchblade.
Right.
I feel like that's not I think the issue is just not having Cole around.
It might be, and it feels like
I think just Cole
it was a sudden end to something they had more plans for.
Cole is such a huge part of MJF's shtick right now, and such a huge part of the dynamic that it's like a really large variable.
It's a chasm without him.
Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I think MJF's still getting by pretty good, but like I think Cole made his current shtick really great to where I didn't care that he wasn't doing the heel stuff right now. Now it's like he's still hanging on, but it's starting to kind of.
I agree, and Roddy's still entertaining me, but
Roddy's helping it out for sure. But
not much else of this is really hitting too hard for me. So
again, it helps to have Cole in there, right? Like
it does.
I don't know. We need him in there for sure. I thought it was a solid little start to the show. I like the interaction between Roddy and MJF. As much as I don't love the Kingdom, I feel like them and Roddy team with MJF is a more interesting story than the Acclaimed, because personally I don't really need the Acclaimed in here. Other than like I guess like they're an option for MJF, and that's fine. But I would like Roddy just because I think that's funny. It could serve as a solid substitute in Cole's absence with Roddy, but not as good, obviously. And then MJF and the Acclaimed is probably what we're getting. Devil Mask appears again with no clues. So that's still interesting. I'm just gonna say who attacked Switchblade over who attacked Trick, because
Could be the same person.
better.
You don't know. It's a free agent, Sammy Callahan, attacking everyone.
Sammy Callahan beats up everybody.
Death Machine.
You know, he just beats up everyone. You know what we call that?
What?
Ohio versus everything.
Correct. And I thought he was doing a good tweener role for a bit in Impact that he just sort of abandoned.
I miss OVE Sammy because he was just
his entrance is dope.
insane.
I don't care what anyone says when he's doing the Death Machine
I still
entrance.
love for TNA or Impact. I love Moose. Moose's entrance is so
Moose
good.
is good.
For like how small.
He gets a star
in
entrance.
their venues. It still looks good. I don't even love Moose. I just love Moose's entrance, and I think his theme fits it perfectly too. I don't know. It's nice. We open the show we get our opener, which is Juice Robinson versus MJF, Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Right.
And I remember hearing you say you like Juice's.
That
theme.
is my first note. I thought his entrance music is good.
I did listen to it. I actually do kind of enjoy
and
it.
Suits
as well.
him.
It does suit him. Yeah, it's nice. I like them calling him the Stray Bullet.
Yeah, I like that
That's
too.
a good nickname. Although I like Rock Hard too. I actually added to my Christmas list the shirt that just says Rock Hard on it because
you love those.
That's what I live.
Shirts.
That's what I live for. Because I mean, I like just a good wrestling shirt. Like I want there's the Aussie Open one but like when you get one that says Bang Bang Gang or Rock Hard or
that's a poor.
Funny or I'm a poor like.
I've heard people commenting on that hoodie of yours.
I know. I got a couple too, and it's just like that's what I live for. That's what I want.
That's it.
Little do they know they're giving me exactly what I want.
That's right.
I live to create conversation over my
random
my shirt text.
Yeah.
Some notables from the match: MJF ran Juice in the barricade, then threw him over the timekeeper's table. He catapults him face first in the ring post, which would start him bleeding muchly. Juice chokes MJF with his scarf behind the ref's back while he's distracted by Colton. MJF later does the same, but Juice gouges his eyes to get out. MJF keeps like bashing Juice's head on the top turnbuckle. I thought that was cool because the blood on his face started to stain the white logo.
Yeah,
on
it
the
did look kind of cool.
Thought that was kind of cool. There's progressively more blood on there. Kangaroo kick from MJF. Juice connects with the left hand of God and a falling powerbomb for 2.
Oh, that's what my notes. I just wrote L hog and a power. I have a short form for powerbomb, and I didn't know what L hog was. Left hand of God.
Okay.
I have L hog and PB for 2, which means left hand of God and powerbomb for 2.
Oh, I thought it's like a hot dog and peanut butter.
I always shorten powerbomb to PB and clothesline to PL or CL. Sorry, because we write them so much.
I just typed them out.
You're crazy.
Not
dedicated.
I'm not a coward.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to type these words.
The L hog and a PB for a near fall.
Then I think like MJF got sent towards the ropes, or sorry, he got sent to the ropes, or he just kind of just did all of a sudden. He did suicide out his guns. I thought it was really clean because he didn't like get the big build up and bounce off the ropes. He just kind of went for it.
Straight to the ropes
and
and through.
It was perfectly clean, so I thought that was cool.
Yep.
Juice is loose for a near fall, which is that like front falling DDT.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like the DDT, but like
I just didn't know the Juice is loose.
Yeah,
nice.
The Juice is loose. You do the JIL and the L hog.
That's right.
Finish comes from the guns to distract the ref. Juice goes for the quarter punch, but MJF avoids it. Hits him with the diamond ring before he takes with the guns and hits a heat seeker for the win. Bulko Gold attack MJF till the Kingdom run down with Roddy in the wheelchair. They brawl with the guns until Bulko Gold take control, send them out. Acclaimed run out to make the save. White talks from the ramp and tells MJF to focus and follow his exotic accent, which made me laugh. White says to forget about everything else, with like Omega, Joe, Wardlow, Devil Mask, etc. The fact that Wardlow's in this mix, bothers me.
One of these things is not like the other.
Nope. It's like and the difference is one of them doesn't interest me.
Correct.
It's Wardlow. And to focus on him, says he'll never get his grubby hands on the title again, and he'll pummel his face into the ground, and then he'll breathe with the switchblade. Colton congratulates him on keeping the ring, but they still have the Triple B. And MJF has something else they also want in the ROH tag titles, and he challenges MJF to a tag title match at Full Gear. Austin says it doesn't matter if the MJF or the Devil shows up because they got 2 guns for each of them, or 1 for each of them. MJF accepts the challenge, says he won't wait to get his hands on Jay White. He accepts the challenge for an 8-man tag match next week, and he gets his belt back if he wins. Roddy shouts Max, and I thought it was funny. MJF was like, "I'm right here. Stop
Finally.
yelling at me,"
Yeah.
which I thought that was pretty funny. And Roddy says he'll obviously pick them, right? And he tells Roddy to sit the kingdom on his lap and roll his chair off a cliff, which I thought was also kind of funny. Caster says that means he'll pick the Acclaim then, right? And MJF tells Caster not to touch him. He says he's known Caster for a long time. He never liked him. He says he would never tag Caster even if he was the only way to put a fire on him. And Caster does the thing where he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
Right. Dumb and Dumber.
Caster wants a scissor before they leave, which that I'd love for someone to take that out of context. And MJF denies it and walks away. He comes up the ramp. But Kenny Omega comes out. Omega says MJF seems to have a lot going on, so we'll cut to the chase. He challenges MJF to a title match, and to like basically so he has a chance to defend his record because
Yes, to beat MJF before MJF goes longer with
which
the
is
belt.
a typical thing. Right?
Yep.
And MJF puts out the challenge for Collision and says, "May the best man win." They both do their closing lines, and then Mega pulls him in and says, "3 days, bitch."
Yeah. So I thought the match itself
Much to unpack here.
was a pretty basic bloody brawl, like full of cheating and not a ton of wrestling until the final few minutes, I thought. And I guess the story is the ultimate cheater, despite him being a babyface, still he can outsmart an entire group of cheaters, right, to retain his ring. I think it ended up being solid, just not the pace I prefer to start an episode of Dynamite. I thought the Kingdom looked like absolute goobers here, right? Because they came out and got taken out immediately.
That's okay.
Which doesn't bother me, no. And just some of MJF's interactions, I said it before, don't feel like main champion face of the company stuff to me. I think he could be doing all this stuff other than the Jay White stealing his belt.
Although I believe
without
you
the belt.
are on record as saying you like when people have multiple things going on.
I do. I don't.
So
It's just they don't feel big enough. And then you have all these run-ins and promos after the match. I started out getting a bit fatigued. This was really lengthy. I thought they could have moved on with something else and circled back to some of this later, like in an interview or a vignette or something later. However, ending with MJF Kenny, that's when you got my attention back. That feels like main champion face of the company stuff. That's the most interesting to me was the tiny little bit at the
and then
end.
Also Switchblade, and then you got a bunch of stuff in between.
Lots of stuff going on. I just wish it felt more important. Like I don't mind that he's involved in several things at once because I do think that's a thing AEW does better than anybody else, but like I want them to be meaningful. And some of it's comedy and some of it's babyface and some of it's serious. So it's just kind of all over the place for me.
I do think he has a bit much going on, but I like that there's multiple things going on.
I
There's
do too.
a lot to unpack here. First with the match, I thought it was solid opener. Solid action here, nothing amazing. MJ still good in the ring as babyface, but a little simpler, more crowd centric, which is sometimes good, sometimes not. I thought Juice looked pretty good though. I thought he got a couple cool near falls towards the end. He got a good enough showing. I like seeing so much Juice. Finish was fine, a typical MJF finish, so that is totally fine by me. Post match here was a lot to take in. Maybe slightly overstayed its welcome, but I like most of the things going on here. I always enjoy Jay White. Cut another good promo as always. It wasn't a lot new, but he delivers so well every time. I love his delivery and everything, and he amuses me, so it's totally fine. He was also amusing on commentary, I thought. Cause just the way he was sounding like when Juice is in trouble. I thought he made some like noise or whatever that was funny. I like Bang Bang going for everything MJF has. So I thought the guns a little bit was solid as well. Roddy amuses me again. I like the angle he's trying to work here. MJ's response to him amused me as well. Ian Claim's involvement was fine too, somewhat amusing, but I like their spot here. More so for the fact that MJF's denial of them felt more like heel MJF. Like when he turned the Acclaim down, it felt more like heel MJF to me. So I like that kind of.
It is sort of like he can't. It's seeping out, right?
Right,
he
like,
can't keep that. Which
yeah,
is
so
fine.
I like that was still there. Like the glimpses of real MJF are still
Right.
there. So I like that they at least serve that purpose. If Cole's not here. Finally, we had the bit with Omega, which I thought was a cool little promo, but like you said, attention grabbing because that's a huge match they're just putting on Collision.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess timing wise, that's where you got to put it. But I like when the record holders come to try and cut off the whoever's on the
simple little story that makes sense.
Yeah, the Usos and New Day did it, which was either the beginning of this year or like the end of last year. They did that. Like they ran back the rivalry just because the Usos were about to break the record. So I like that, even though like pretty much every time the champ retains and sets the new record, I don't care because it's just a simple story to get out there, and I always think it's kind of fun.
Yep.
It just sucks because I realized MJF and Punk won't have a physical belt to fight for, but maybe they can hit up Punk to borrow his belt because I'm gonna assume he still has the real championship. The whole shebang was a tad bit too long. Could have been split up, but I think all in all, I like everything we had going on here. MJ's partners will also be interesting. With what goes on later, I think it'd be interesting if Samoa Joe helped MJF at least, team with the gun or team against the guns at Full Gear. If Joe's not involved in the 8-man tag, I could see Joe subbing in for Cole at Full Gear, perhaps.
Get me more Samoa Joe. I'm fine with that.
I feel like that could be
all the Joe.
More MJF related stuff, except now I don't care anymore because it's Wardlow.
Oh, yay.
He was talking about how he sat at home for 4 months watching MJF become the name and face of his company despite doing some horrible things in the past. He said he had to watch the man that he despises and that he beat headline the biggest show ever. He said there's nothing left for him, so now he's going to take everything from MJF.
Right. So he's like, I wasn't hurt or on vacation. He just was in a dark place, right? So, like, is that him just basically going like, I wasn't booked for a long time? It was kind of him going, there's no good reason I wasn't here.
I guess he could have been in a dark place, but like, because the last thing he did was lose his title to Luchasaurus. So I guess there's that.
And I don't hate his motivation here. Like, I beat MJF, and now you guys have given him everything, and I'm pissed. Like,
yeah. So my thing
fine.
is, I think the angle he has here is pretty cool, and I think
just
it works.
Wish it wasn't him.
It makes sense. It's just unfortunate that it's Wardlow.
Correct.
That's exactly what I said. Because like, I think it's cool. It makes sense because it's this guy that he not only did he beat, but he worked for him for a couple years, and so he knows what he's like. He knows the scumbag that he is, and now everyone's just cheering him. And so I love it. But and I would actually like this, and I would be interested if it wasn't Wardlow. His character and in-ring work no longer interests me at all, so this little bit of interest does nothing for me, even though it's inherently not bad.
I agree.
It's just Wardlow.
Simple, realistic, but Wardlow.
like,
unfortunately.
It's mean, but I don't like
Wardlow
like, anymore.
If you weren't doing anything, why'd you wait so long? Why now?
Why now? When he's got a bunch of other crap going on, why wouldn't you have gone before, or why wouldn't you wait till after this?
But I felt the same way. I like this motivation. I just wish it were
anyone else.
Like not circling back around to something that they really beat to death a while ago, right? So anyways.
Wardlow's just not interesting anymore, and I don't need to see more squash matches, or like, especially now.
I know, like the lead up to it is just going to be him killing people again.
Right,
probably.
Which we've already seen.
Because I don't think they know what else to do.
And yeah, because he doesn't really have many drawn out matches.
No.
And then, like last time he faced MJF, he killed MJF.
And then I feel like if he's going to get a bunch of attention, it means that Hobbs won't, because it's kind of the same thing, and it's like one or the other kind of deal.
And in that case, I would be picking Hobbs.
Way more
Absolutely Hobbs. And like, so he killed MJF last time. So this time, like, you're mean to tell me because it's a world title match now, MJF has a fighting chance, and he's like able to contest with Wardlow and probably
gotten better
and probably beat Wardlow.
I would think so. I don't think they're putting the belt on Wardlow.
Like, if they put the belt on Wardlow, that would be horrible. But like,
they would.
He got killed by Wardlow, and I remember that was a small complaint from people when MJF won the title, because it was like Wardlow destroyed him and now he's your champion. But like, I think it's more of an issue now if they're running it back. Cause it's like, no, it's just a weird thing to me, and I sometimes don't care about that, but I'm gonna point it out because I don't really like Wardlow.
That's the only problem. Like, if it were like, again, storyline is cool, but there's no payoff that I want to see.
Because I don't want
at this point. Maybe they could
with Wardlow. I don't want Wardlow
to
win, and I don't want him to lose because that means I'll have to suffer a title feud anyways.
That's right.
I just don't want it. Next we get Hook and Rob Van Dam versus Dark Order's Silver and Reynolds. Why RVD's back on my TV, I do not know.
It's funny you say that because I'll let it marinate. That'll be a criticism I come back to later, I think.
Monkey flip from RVD, leg drop to the back of Silver's head from RVD. RVD hits Silver with a Rolling Thunder for 2.
Listen
Reynolds
to your excitement about this.
RVD. Wait till I get to the Sting promo. I summarized it in a really immature way.
I like that. That's fine.
RVD kicks a steel chair into Uno's face after intended interference. Cool mask though.
Yeah, it was a cool mask.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It's different for him.
RVD takes up rounds with 5-star frog splash. Hook submits Silver in the red rum.
Yep.
Lame, felt like Rampage fodder. Largely just the greatest hits of RVD for no reason at all. Are we even in Philly? I don't even know. Dark Order look like chumps here after this new directive that they've taken.
Right.
Which I thought was cool, but now they just don't do anything. Hook barely did anything either. You can't even argue it was
He
Hook.
didn't.
Like, it was just literally RVD.
RVD hot tag.
There's not even really a storyline thing that RVD and Hooker have going on. So literally, what is the point of this?
It's funny you say that.
Can we?
Why
Why
like you're
is this
reading
not
my
on Rampage
notes.
or put it on Collision? Because I don't care about Collision.
It's easy to
Put
ignore.
it on
Somewhere
something.
we can ignore it. Is all we're
Somewhere
asking.
I can feel comfortable about ignoring it. I don't have to review because I can guarantee of the people who want to hear me review stuff, people don't want to hear me review this because I don't care.
At one point at the beginning, Taz was talking about like, and it would be strange seeing his son teaming up with like a legend from his era.
You know
right?
why, Taz? Because you probably shouldn't be seeing
I was gonna say it's as the kids say, that's not the flex he thinks it is. Probably
it is not.
But like we got the RVD hot tag in 2023, but like, and it's, to be honest, RVD is at like 3/4 speed. It's still solid, but it's not good. It didn't.
Would I rather see him than Jarrett and
Sure.
the Hardys and Sting? Yes, but you know how low of a bar that is?
Very.
That's incredibly low. That's like saying I'd rather see Sting wrestle than Ric Flair. Incredibly low bar.
This felt really unimportant, and other than this nostalgia of seeing RVD, I'm not sure I see the point in this. I feel like this time would have been better spent on pretty much anything else, and this is a couple of things you were saying that sound exactly like my notes. This is the type of match that lets you know exactly where Dark Order are in the pecking order, right? And it's not good. It's funny you said this already, because my notes say this felt like something that belongs on Rampage to me. It's funny how Rampage has a better looking card than this episode, obviously. Arguably.
I would say for Rampage, yeah. If you're comparing,
right? It's only an hour. They only have an hour, and it's
but
packed.
like there's two matches I'm very interested in, yeah. And like I think it is kind of insulting to say this is a Rampage kind of thing, but the perception of Rampage needs to change. Like I think if they book if every Rampage card is at least more like this week, where there's two matches I'm interested in, and like one's got a storyline with Santana and Ortiz, and one's just like something really good on paper, like. Rampage could be so much better. I think just because it's an hour show at 10 and it's taped doesn't mean it has to suck butt every week.
No.
But it does. So that leads us to saying, "Oh, this feels like a Rampage match" as an insult, because that's typically what Rampage has. So Rampage can change that perception easily.
I think being recorded, they have trouble keeping it in the current storylines and stuff sometimes too, right? Like it seems like it's separate stuff going on over there.
Although I saw like on Rampage, they have a segment for MJF and Omega before Collision. I think that's a solid way to use that, because because Collision will be filmed separately, and it's after Rampage, so you can kind of film it to set up Collision, and then Collision could have things for Dynamite and so on and so forth. So I think that could work. But Rampage, looks decent, and this was not.
Correct.
Next we had Tony Storm's silent film, but Bell did not give us picture-in-picture, so I had no comments on this.
So we switched cable providers, and we were, despite listening to my wife talk to them about we want exactly the same channels as our previous provider, blah, blah, blah. They didn't give us either of the channels that all the wrestling's on.
We're working on it, but we still don't have it.
No, we have them now.
We have. Oh, okay,
we do, but as of yesterday. So we didn't have. So we were watching this on, short story long, we were watching this on demand, and demand does not give us picture-in-picture.
And we didn't skip, but that's not a major issue.
We saw none of the Tony Storm silent film, full disclosure.
I'm not complaining about.
Nope, it's fine. I'm sure it was great.
I don't really care.
Next, and here we go.
Next, Sting speaks. So I'm gonna credit to TJR again for help with this, but I did type most of this out by myself just to be as condescending and stupid as possible.
Go ahead.
Here we go. Sting thanked Philly. Sting thanked Darby. Darby best tag partner Sting have. Sting thanked Tony Khan. Shivani thanked Sting. Shivani talked about how Sting on TBS too many years ago, 35 to be exact, put wrestling on map. Shivani reveals Sting gift. Outcome Ric Flair. Flair talked about magical. I laughed because I knew you would love it.
Oh my god.
Flair talked about magical life moments, not his last match. Flair talked about them main eventing first class of champions, highlighting how old they are. Flair say long match hard. Flair say Sting the best, and Sting so nice. Flair want to be a part of Sting retirement. So now I'm gonna talk normally because it's Christian and I respect him.
My note says Christian came out to save this segment.
Yeah, Christian comes out to save us all. Christian said Tony Khan's a billionaire, and this is the gift he gives Sting. He made some old jokes about Flair, namely when he said he knows that Flair isn't dead, but he said he also knows there's no God, because if there was a God, Ric Flair would have been dead 20 years ago.
Thank you, Christian. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I love Christian so much. Christian said he was out there because Sting and Darby decided to stick their nose in his business again. And he basically he mocked Philly, so they are in Philly, I guess. That's why RVD's
And they
here.
had just lost.
So he mocked them for losing baseball
Yes.
playoffs. He challenged Sting and Darby to a 6-man tag against his peeps.
I see what you did there.
Told them to get a partner. This was boring. Sting's promo was pretty pandering, and then at the very end of the road feeling lame. Flair's involvement here does absolutely nothing for me. I heard it might just be because they want ratings before they get a new TV deal.
The fact that he gets
still.
ratings makes me angry because
Yeah.
he shouldn't.
Flair does nothing for me, and his promo was just as lame. Once again, though, we are saved at the bell by Christian Cage. In kayfabe, it's a mistake bringing Flair out here. We all know Christian Cage is in the building because that's just a death sentence and a half.
Yep.
He torched Rick, and it was awesome. Absolutely saved it for me. Full match sounds fine. It's completely expected. Probably Edge in there. Although the nightmare is Ric Flair wrestling.
Yeah,
AEW.
man, I wish this was on some show I don't watch. And listen, I've been watching Sting since the early 80s in NWA before it became WCW, and I've been a fan of Sting at various points throughout his career, but as listeners know, regulars, I don't watch wrestling for nostalgia. I don't watch basketball to see 55-year-olds play basketball. I don't watch wrestling to see
Sting
this.
wrestle.
And I have even less desire to see Ric Flair at this point. He did his goodbye tour. He had his abomination of a final match. He's generally a terrible person who's treated women like garbage for much of his life. I'm well past wanting to see any further glorification of this guy's career. And remember, he was quote unquote canceled when the plane ride from hell stuff came out. And it was just a matter of time until that wasn't in anyone's recent memory. And then we trot this guy back out.
Apparently,
here, right?
that stopped him from signing on as Andrade's manager a couple years back when that whole shebang
But now
happened.
it's in the rearview mirror far enough.
So he'll
and
come
I
on for a
promise
while.
you, if this video on demand service had the ability to play at a faster speed, I would have for sure gone to 1.25 or 1.5 on this. This was like watching, it felt like I was being forced to watch WWE Hall of Fame inductions, and that is personal hell adjacent for me. That's what this felt like. And then Christian came out to save this, and his savagery towards Flair was really much appreciated. And then
Christian just comes out to save segments here and there, I swear.
And Sting's comeback is to sneeze and say he's allergic to jackasses. That was what we scripted for this. I don't know if they intentionally went, well, we have to have Christian destroy you and you can't have a good comeback because he's going to get ultimately his comeuppance or whatever. But I thought that was just super weak.
Christian's just too good.
And yeah, the Christian was great. The rest of this was a waste of my time. And I was making me a little angry that Ric Flair is on. This is not the route to take. We do not need this. No. But anyways.
It still amazes me how far the turnaround on Christian's
for
us.
Because we were lumping him in with we don't want these veterans from...
I hated him. And we keep saying it, but it's crazy because I genuinely hated Christian. He was one of those guys where every time he was on and he was in a segment, I complained. I complained every time.
But it's important for people to know that we're not our opinions change. And if you do something different, we might like it or not like it. We're not, whatever the young person language is, we're not just always going to pump up AEW and certain people or all their people.
Marks, whatever.
Right. So it's kind of, we like what we like and we'll tell you what we like.
Yeah.
And we don't like all these old people coming, but Christian's the exception.
Sting, Flair.
I care way more about Christian than Edge. Way more.
Oh, infinitely more. Yeah. That's been like that ever since Christian turned heel because I haven't given a crap about Edge's entire comeback run except for maybe when he had the match with Daniel Bryan and Roman.
I don't know why no one does the savage promos like Christian.
I guess it's such a... Not everyone's okay with that, but I don't know.
And his delivery and his stupid face, even when he's not saying stuff, is so
his
good.
His delivery and everything too is I love when he's just I understand you have a father and your father's dead.
He just is that character, right? There's some acting there. He's just good at it.
It's just but it just feels like he's just a real douche. It's
so good.
But it just it's so funny and saves segments to me too, especially the roast to Ric Flair reminded me of that one time when he talked to Matt Hardy. He was like, "You're starting to make your brother sound like the sober one," or whatever. I love lines like that because I don't like Jeff Hardy. I don't like Ric Flair. It's better when you don't like them because then it's twice as funny.
Yeah.
Because it's funny when it's at the expense of Nick Wayne's dad or something, but it's even funnier when it's someone like Ric Flair.
If Christian hadn't come out here and this had just continued, I would have been furious.
If it was just this on its own, it'd be abysmal. But Christian makes it passable.
Yep.
Below passable. Next we have Chris Jericho sit down with Renee.
You know what my first note from that one is? Well, the way Jericho said well, remember?
Oh yeah.
He was like, well, made me laugh.
Cool whip.
Cool whip.
Jericho said he can't remember having a beatdown like what he took from Powerhouse Hobbs a few weeks ago.
Yes, quite a beatdown.
Willpower. Renee wondered if he was having self-reflection about what's left. He spoke about how he's always had immense self-confidence in himself. No. Could have fooled me. And
Self-confidence in himself. That sounds redundant. But anyways,
maybe.
I don't know how you have self-confidence in someone else, but you could try, I guess. I may not be an expert.
I feel like he might think he can.
Maybe.
He'll find a way. He's Chris freaking Jericho. And knowing he can beat anybody. He couldn't get out of the hold he was in, or hole? I don't know. That he was in with his match with Hobbs, because it says hole here with W. So I'm not sure if he's meant hold
Typo?
or hole.
I don't know.
Jericho wondered if he has what it takes to beat Hobbs. He better not.
Sure didn't.
He better not. Can't beat Ospreay, can't beat Hobbs. You can beat Sammy, I guess. Like, that's fine. Can't beat Takeshita. If you beat Takeshita, so help me God.
He won't.
He better not. Well, you say that now, but you also said, oh, his feud with Blackpool will end at some point.
That's
and
true.
It did, but it also didn't end.
It ended like 6 months too late, but
it ended over half a year after it should have. He wondered if it has what it takes to be Hobbs. Is it time to step back, or is it time to get some sort of revenge? It's time to step back. He said that Don Callis has a family. He said he has a lot of friends too.
No.
Some friends bigger than Will Hobbs. So maybe it's time to give them a call.
No.
So
no more factions for you.
Well, I don't even think it's a I think arguably it's worse than a faction. Because I was saying it to you.
You were saying it to me, and it's a horrible nightmare.
What big friend does he have in the past that he's tag team with?
Jericho.
Exactly, Jericho. This is fine, not really interesting to me. I was hoping deep down that he would actually consider retiring, but I guess it's too close to Sting. Otherwise, I would say go for it, retire. This does annoy me, though, because the last thing anyone needs or that I want is another Chris Jericho faction war. He's had 2, and they've lasted incredibly long, like almost impressively long.
Cite the case of someone who's come out of his faction elevated and looking better. MJF? Probably not even. His ascension, I think, came after that. That's my criticism, is his factions don't help anyone. They should be helping young people like Garcia and whoever else.
Garcia would have been helped if he joined Blackpool, but then he never did.
They don't help anyone but Jericho.
No, and I don't even know if they really help Jericho. They just help him stay on TV, really.
And he's so inconsistent now. With 1 week he's a heel, and 1 week he's the Painmaker, and then he's like the crying baby face. And
even Guevara, who should be the biggest case for someone Jericho elevated, he won his TNT titles on his own. And then he got dragged down going back into Jazz.
Right.
And then he became more interesting when he started to drift away from Jazz in the 4 Pillars feud.
Correct.
And then he got tethered back in.
That's right.
Now he's becoming more interesting again with Don Callis. See, Don Callis' faction is what any of Jericho's factions should be, because it's elevated Takeshita already. Takeshida's had a great year. And he's doing great. Already, Hobbs has looked better than his TNT title run or his QTV run. And
Definitely.
Already, Sammy's looked a little better. And it even yielded some good results for Ospreay, too. So
Jericho, at this point, I think should be helping establish other people, and I would suggest his factions don't do that at all. So this just made me nervous that he's putting a group of people together.
It made me more nervous.
He needs a break, man.
It made me more nervous that Paul White's going to wrestle again. Because I remember the one time he wrestled on the pay-per-view against QT Marshall, because that's who you want to face when you wrestle people in wrestling. And it was abysmal.
It was.
You could go to Impact then, join the good hands.
True.
You're oddly enough fit, because he looks kind of like them and looks just as boring.
A little bit. Hey, I like the good hands. How dare you?
Oh, then don't put QT
Someone's coming down the stairs. I hear it.
It's definitely the cat.
Maybe they're bringing food.
It's definitely the cat, because she would definitely make that out of a creek.
For sure.
Now you just have to see if the door opens or not, because
you keep going.
I'm just I'm kind of curious. So, next we get, because the show needs a pickup, Hung Bucks take on the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy, aka Hardy Party.
Crazy.
For the ROH 6-man tag titles, because again, must see. I had thought it was funny. One thing I wrote was I miss Private Party, because they had such potential. Then the heel run killed them, and now Mark Quinn is missing.
Brother Zay
is food. Yeah, now he's Brother Zay, and I don't. That's a horrible name.
It is.
You wanna you can flop it down.
Drop it off. Thank you for bringing food.
We got food here, folks. I don't know what I'm looking
at. Silent food, hopefully.
Like a little sandwich business. Banana bread. I got Oh, that's crunchy. That is crunchy. That is okay.
I'm
Yeah,
leaving all
no,
this
don't eat
footage
those.
in too.
Well, yeah, this is
Snack
like interesting
delivered.
behind the scenes here.
Yeah, we know.
Are they all peanut butter and jam?
Thank you.
That one looks different, but like, am I just tripping? That looks like turkey. Is that just the bread? Okay, I'm dumb. Yeah, no, that's my favorite new favorite cheese. All right, thank you, mother. Okay, I will talk about this fast so I can eat some cheese. But yeah, I miss Private Party because we used to complain about why are you eating the cheese? That's true. That's true.
I muted myself so I
oh,
can eat.
we caught it this time though. We
I
caught it
did.
this time. Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna mute so I can eat cheese before you eat it all.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
gonna like lean away because I just so that we don't accidentally mute me or whatever.
Right.
Because that happened last time.
It did.
But yeah, Private Party had such potential, and then they turned heel, and it was lame, and now they don't do anything. The Hardy Family Office, that was, you want to talk about bad factions, that was a bad spell. And then you had Offo, with then Andrade got sucked into that. That was bad. The funny thing Excalibur said I noted was Cassidy has quote strong do-rag game, which made me chuckle. I don't know why.
I wrote
Excalibur
that
said
down as well.
That was pretty funny.
The strong
Um,
do-rag game by Brother Zay is the
And
exact
then the other
quote.
thing, and I know you wrote this too. RVD, Hardy, Sting, and Ric Flair on the same wrestling show in 2023. What the hell?
I said RVD, Sting, Flair, Jericho, Hardys in the first hour. Not the lineup I would ever hope for.
Jericho is, as much as I don't like it, at least it's usual because he still wrestles decently and like whatever. Out of all of them, he is excusable. But the Hardys are far worse than they used to be. RVD takes up space for no reason. Sting serves little no purpose for me. Ric Flair, why was he here?
Agree.
Yeah, so excellent roster. Now the only thing we need is Jeff Jarrett on the show. And then we're golden.
Absolutely.
Now since the Hardys are facing the Bucks again, they're forcing me to abbreviate the two mats, which I hate doing, because it's just like I want to be able to see like easily, but now I have to read MH and MJ repeatedly.
I see John has to clarify that in his reviews as well.
It's annoying. Like
I think he goes with Hardy as Matt Hardy, and Matt is.
I can't do that. I'm gonna mess it up for sure. Well, because there's two Hardys and two Jacksons, so it's horrible. Matt Hardy hit a side effect to Matt Jackson for 2. It's a cool twisting tornado dive to the outside from Isaiah Cassidy on Hangman and Nick.
Yep.
Matt Jackson did the stereo and then suplexes to Zay and Matt Hardy. Then Hangman gets in the hot tag for with the flurry. Hangman gets hit with the silly string, bring that back, even though no Mark Quinn.
Right.
Did Mark Quinn get injured or something?
I don't know where he is.
What the hell happened to Mark Quinn? Private Party.
Let me go check. And by the way, my earlier check, Ortiz's name is Miguel Molina.
Miguel
Ortiz. So not Steve. Believe it or not.
It's not like a kind of white name, because Mike Santana, it's like that could be someone white.
It could be.
Matt Hardy hits a twist fan on Matt Jackson, then Jeff falls with a swanton bomb for a near fall. Nick makes a save. Finish comes with a buckshot layer to Zay, then super kicks to the Hardys and a B2 trigger to Zay for the win. Then we get a video on the Trauma Swerve going to Hangman's home. Nana eats chocolate covered berries, saying he loves those. Swerve takes a painting off of the fridge that clearly Hangman's kid did, and says they have no taste here. Then rips it. Swerve looks at one of the child books that they have, and then they hear something. Then they go upstairs to the baby's crib. Swerve reminds Hangman of how his loved ones will pay the price, and it's not always him. And he says Hangman's in here. He asks if Hangman Jr. will owe him something, and he says he will, but not today. And he leaves a shirt on the baby and says he's forever indebted to him. And then they leave.
Yeah, the match, man. There was some okay parts. The Bucks.
I forgot there was a match.
The Bucks and Page kind of worked well with Brother Zay, and then the Hardys are really slow and looked really exhausted near the end of this. I thought this just felt like Rampage again, right? And it's just at this point, this is where I start going. This is a strange episode to me. It feels
Hardys
off.
are on Rampage a decent amount.
The result's not in doubt. With the Hardys, the action's not going to be great. So again, I don't see the point of this, much like the Hook RVD tag match. Fine at best, I guess, but like just a filler match. And I like the Nana and Swerve stuff on the home invasion was the best part of this. I like that Nana was like, we gotta go, and Swerve was like, didn't care.
My thing was we could have had more interesting opponents then. If you want to do a 6-man tag open challenge, that's fine, but like
it doesn't have to be these guys.
It doesn't have to be the Hardys.
No, and I thought the visual of Swerve cutting the promo, leaning on the crib, was a cool visual. So I like that part, but the match seemed not necessary at all.
Mm-hmm. It was fine. I guess some of the action was decent, but a lot of it was the Hardys in control, and that's boring as hell. Like I said, don't know why it had to be them instead of a trio I actually care about. honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, but put in Spanish Announce Project. Yes, it's Luther and Serpentico who are losers, but I would rather see jobbers like Serpentico and Luther if it means getting in Helico instead of the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy.
Didn't you say Luther's been repackaged though?
I think Luther was with Tony Storm. I heard someone say it's Luther, but I can't tell if it's actually Luther or not. I do think Angelico's getting a crack at Eddie Kingston, so I'll watch that when it happens. But justice for Angelico, okay? We love Angelico, and he never
We
does
should
anything.
get him on the pod. Nobody's a bigger fan of Angelico than
Yeah,
us.
bring Angelico here. I would gladly talk to Angelico, because I would love to ask him questions about his funny little dance that I don't get to see anymore, because guess what? He's not on TV. Just get him on TV
True.
once so I can... and give him an entrance. So help me God, if he's on AEW and he doesn't even get an entrance, why are you bringing him there? I mean, yes, I do want to see him wrestle, but I want to see him do his funny little dance on TV, and I love his theme song a lot. About the post match, that was all this was here set up, but I thought it was good though. Love the super villain swerve. I thought it was cool. Yeah, him leaning on the crib and just talking to the baby, and just it did feel super villain, but in a good way because we love Swerve here. Love Swerve. We need Angelico and Nana to interact.
So Quen states, I think it's still an injury, although none of these are very recent. Well, from August 19th, 2023. Programming nowhere to be seen. His status still suffers from a shoulder injury, keeping him out of action since the start of the year, and he may not be cleared, has not been cleared to return. Wearing a brace sling, would not be returning anytime soon.
No.
So that's all I know.
Or Isaiah Cassidy. And Ethan Page still hasn't recovered. Remember the firm, and he actually got a push.
Followed up by Isaiah Cassidy not welcome on Collision because of CM Punk not liking him. Anyways.
That's relevant.
Carry on.
Next we get an interview with Edge. Okay.
Sure do, because, this program's been skewing really young, so they decided to, put an older guy in a spot here. Jeez.
Throw it over to the old guard.
Yeah.
Renee summed up that how he doesn't plan to fight Christian.
Of course he doesn't.
He said his friendship with Cage matters more than anything in this business.
Despite not communicating with him before uprooting his whole life and joining AEW, just hoping that they would reunite, and Christian going, no.
I guess,
stupid.
There you can support on the flimsy logic of, because his kids were like, oh, go be with Uncle Jay, so he wanted to surprise him.
Guess what? If you tell me to quit my job and go work somewhere else, I'm probably not going to do it. You listen to your child about your career, and you didn't talk to Christian. Anyways, whatever.
I guess he wanted to surprise him, but
yeah,
that's flimsy logic. B, that's not stated. That's just me. That's my own. That's my own headcanon, right?
Right. We're working that.
So yeah. Darby Sting come in. Alan says Killer be killed here, so he's gonna have to fight him. Sting spoke because that's what I want. Talking about take the blinders off or whatever. Because his friends attacking him or whatever. Something about that. He learned stuff from Ric Flair. Blah blah blah. We go way back. Don't mess it all up now. Not true. And I will take umbrage with that line.
Yeah, this is just more time being invested into their story that I don't have any interest. We all know where this is going. He's going to wrestle Christian, or they're going to unite, whatever. I just don't really care. And so much, this is the point I'm getting frustrated, because so much of this show has been dedicated to things that do not interest me. And that is not, it's not main roster. I expect that when I tune in there. But this show entertains me week after week after week. So when I don't find it entertaining, it frustrates me, because it's my one pretty much lock that I'm going to enjoy Dynamite, right? I guess not. But anyways, as you eat a sandwich, should I continue speaking as you finish chewing?
One moment. I'm just finishing my cheese. Thank you, sir.
Smoked cheddar from Costco. Delicious. Balderson. Sponsor of the program. Balderson cheese.
Hey,
good stuff.
If Balderson, specifically smoked cheddar, were to sponsor me, I would gladly take that. I will become WWE with their stupid Pizza Hut box if it's Balderson smoked cheddar. Oh, okay. All right, I'm good to go, folks. This was whatever. I liked what Darby said. I'm gonna say I thought Darby just the way he delivered it, and his motif here. I thought it was logical. I just like the way he delivered it, because it just felt real and logical. It's killer be killed. You gotta act at some point, right? So I like that. I thought he delivered really well, and the way he went after Nick Wayne last week kind of ties into that, and I feel like that's eventually where Edge and Christian will end up, obviously,
right? If
they don't team. I didn't like Sting, obviously, which is a given, but He's very famously the most gullible man in pro wrestling history. He's been turned on countless times, if you want to include the Nick Wayne thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. And so, who the hell is he to tell Edge to wake up? Like, I guess he's learned, but like now he's like old, so of course he's learned by now. But like,
And who killed AR Fox, by the way? I mean, I got to be careful because I've killed people with my words, but that exact same question, pretty much. Like, he just disappeared?
And so he left Mogul Embassy. Why?
I don't know.
That's a missed opportunity, man.
Just gone. I don't know where he is.
I mean, to be fair, he is on TV a lot, but like they should have kept him in Mogul Embassy, man. Like, why didn't they?
Oh, he had heat backstage for being unavailable for All In.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to go or whatever. But like,
right.
Still, why do you have to? I still don't understand why they did that. And then the line he said where he said Sting and Edge go way back, that bothered me because how exactly do they go way back?
Don't they? They're in the WWE together, no?
That's I talked about that. So to my vast knowledge, they had no prior history to WWE. Like before Edge got to WWE or before when Sting was in WCW. Sting was in WWE for less than a year in 2014 and 2015 at a time where Edge was in forced retirement. So it's not like he was active in wrestling and always there. It doesn't really seem like they go back. I don't know how they go back. So I don't think the WWE argument is apt because Sting was there when Edge wasn't doing anything really.
I guess
like Edge was involved in a small angle, but I don't think it really amounts to anything. Next we get, because I want one of the Outcasts to bring the show up, Hikaru Shida versus Ruby Soho for the women's title.
If you didn't know better, you would assume that the Outcasts are like 2 of the only 6 women in this company or something, right? If you didn't know better, it'd be like, oh, they just clearly don't have many women, so they
Half
have
the roster is Soho,
right.
Storm, and
although Storm's not even in that group anymore, is she?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I'll lump her in with the ex-Outcasts.
Fair enough.
For no reason.
I do that in my comment after this, yes.
Why does Soho still have the Outcast theme? Just kill it already. Also, her gear looks horrible. She should go back to what she had before. She had like these weird like leather pants. And her hair's all black now. It's rare I ever say this, but I liked her better with the hair dye just because it like was more vibrant. Just more so with her hairstyle too. It's just like she's got like the.
It's more on brand for her, yeah.
Like
to be flashy.
This or
yeah,
like it's like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Which people can definitely see.
Definitely.
Some notables from the match, if I'm gonna draw anything. She didn't win in the ropes, kind of slow, and so hit a back heel for 2. And then we get like the rotating roll up spot. Missile dropkick from Shida. Soho pulls Shida off the apron to the riot kick, which is alright. Sliding over from Shida for 2 after just a backbreaker.
Yeah.
The submission version and torture rack. Soho tries pulling an Eddie Guerrero with face paint. Then Soho went for a belt shot, and Shida actually spray paints the belt. The real Women's World Championship.
And then Shida has to like feel badly about it for a minute.
Guess.
I don't know. That kind of bugged me.
I mean, I wouldn't want to spray paint my belt, but unless I did it on purpose. Then Soho hits her knockoff Blade Runner for 2. I don't know what she calls it, and I also don't care. Soho hits the riot kick. Then Shida comes back with a katana. Then a slow crawl for the pin for 2. Pump knee, Falcon Arrow.
That looked good.
Then Soho rolls back in the pin, then Shida kicks her off, and she hits the exposed turnbuckle. Kind of. Looked like she ran into it, really. Yeah. Shida hits another katana to pick up the win.
Yeah, it...
And so Storm came out after doing weird stuff that didn't really matter.
No, the spot with the paint, I thought Shida looked kind of dumb. And then she, like, accidentally spray paints the title and then turns her back on Solo. And then wasn't there, like, a tiny, like, half-a-second choke by Ruby with something? I thought...
Yeah, it was like some little cable. And
like
she
for
dropped
less
it.
than a second.
Yeah, then she dropped it.
But anyways, I thought the knee and Falcon Arrow combo looked good. The finishing strike I didn't think looked great. I guess the match was fine. I thought there was some parts, same as you, it looked a little slow motion to me. And I usually like Shida and don't have a huge issue with Soho. But again, results never in doubt. And about a third of the match was during a commercial. So it's hard to get too into it. Just another match that felt like it didn't really matter. So Toni Storm's back in the title hunt. The Outcast still circling this title. And like there's no other women in the company, right? And could Shida possibly lose already? Makes me nervous because she has nothing other than 3-time champion. And Storm has this new character that's really catching on.
I thought about that, but then my justification was if Storm were to challenge for it, my theory was she loses it again, and it would make her spiral even more and become more deranged or whatever. That's the only justification I can think of for having this, because that was my thought too. Her new character, why would she lose? But she cannot lose the title back to one of them again.
And I think she also needs more time to distance herself from the Outcast, because it still feels like she's just barely out of that group, and I'm tired of that group. So I don't know, man. I just don't get what they're doing. It's like they're almost intentionally like, you guys, feels like WWE, you guys really, really want this division and more people. Too bad. We're giving you this, and you're gonna like it. I don't like it.
They need to do something else.
They do.
Finally. Typical complaints here. Some of the action was slow.
It was
at times and a little sloppy.
A little clunky.
Typical mediocre women's match. No build for this and just a random title match. Soho was just thrust into this, and that's something that's plagued many title runs in the women's division. Soho has this weird, slightly new look again that it's random. Like when Storm changed her look, it's just random. Action was fine at best. Finish was lame because essentially Sheeta got a tainted victory. Like, good job, babyface. Also not a fan of Storm possibly challenging Sheeta again. Not because I dislike her character. I think it's fine. Like, I don't love it particularly, but I'm not gonna crap on it yet because it's not Outcast level. But she's still orbiting the Outcast, and she's back for the title again. Like, Sheeta cannot lose it again. That just does her a huge disservice. Like, you have to build her again. But like, and if you're going to do Sheeta Storm again, just please build it, actually.
And give me something. I say it every week. Give me something about Sheeta. Like, something other than she
deserves
she
something,
wins the belt when they need her.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Next we get MJF backstage. He's getting checked on or something. Or he was like, was he in the medical room? I don't know, something like that.
He was talking with Renee.
Yeah,
right?
Joe comes in and says he is a shortage of friends. He needs someone to watch his back and look out for his best interests. Joe says he'll be that friend on the condition he gets his rematch for the title and tells MJF to think about it. I thought this was really cool. If MJF opts to deny the Acclaim and Roddy, I think this would be a cool way to go.
Yep.
And this makes sense for Joe, like helping MJF, but he's got his end game still, right?
And it was
I really liked it.
Almost like Joe's intimidating him into doing it, which I also like, because that's Samoa Joe and he's scary as hell. And even though, again, not sure that's the right look for your champion face of the company, that he's like intimidated by Joe, but it makes sense because Joe is scary.
I would say even if it's big heel MJF, he would be afraid of Samoa Joe no matter what.
But heel makes more sense because you're the like cowardly heel.
He's still a scumbag though. MJF's still somewhat of a coward at the end of the day. And if you're gonna if you're picking someone to be afraid of, I think Samoa Joe's an all-right pick. Like there are far worse things to be afraid of than Samoa Joe. Like I don't know, running away from Sting when you're in a faction of dominant heels.
I would never fault anyone for being afraid of Samoa Joe.
Exactly. So I think that's totally fine. Main event time, we get International Champ Orange Cassidy not defending his belt, much to my dismay. And Kazuchika Okada, because that's something you do normally.
Yeah. It's kind of the theme of this show.
Not complaining. I'm just saying I'm completely random that Okada's here. And better than RVD, because there are two things, like Okada and RVD wrestling on the show are just completely random, but one of them's good and one of them's Rob Van Dam.
This show reminds me of like, what was it where a whole bunch of WWE people got trapped somewhere and couldn't come back, and they had to like call up the NXT and everything felt Oh, that episode was sweet.
That SmackDown. Yeah, it was after Crown Jewel in 2019.
Or like it's a roster suddenly ravaged by COVID and they had to make all kinds of audibles. Like, I don't know what's going on with the show.
No. It's cool to see Okada, don't get
me
like wrong.
An exercise in randomness.
If everything else on the show is normal, I would be less disturbed by Okada, but it's very weird. So they're taking on Blackpool's Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. No Mox in sight, unfortunately.
At least it was, I don't mean to say not Yuta, because Yuta's good, but Claudio Danielson's a stronger team, I think.
Just not Yuta, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, Yuta. You're cool,
I'm
too.
sorry, Yuta. We like you, buddy. At the ending stare down, he was staring down Hook. So give him a crack at Hook. That's
looks like that's going.
We like Yuta, I promise.
We do.
He's just not the most interesting fella out there.
Correct.
That's kind of his crux, which, I mean, you could say that about Claudio, I guess. Claudio tosses Cassidy easily with a couple slams, just chuck him around as Claudio does. Forearm exchange between him and Okada. Claudio suplex drops Cassidy over the top rope. Danielson tags in, diving knee drop to the back of the neck for 2, like Nyla Rose style. Okada hot tag. We get a strike exchange between him and Danielson. Running back up in the corner, followed by a DT from Okada for 2. Cassidy hits yes kick variation on Claudio. Claudio blocks tilt-a-whirl DDT, goes for the swing. Cassidy counters back. Claudio tries to deadlift him in a suplex, and Cassidy hits a stun lock. There's some great strength from Claudio.
Mm-hmm.
And then my favorite part of the match, Claudio just catches Cassidy with an orange punch attempt and just switches right
It
away.
was so sweet.
Incredibly smooth into the swing. It was incredibly smooth. Decent length too, and then he like ramped it up really fast before dropping him into the sharpshooter, and then eventually Okada broke that up. That was clean as hell. It was honestly impressive. It was just like he caught him and it was like, whoa, right into the swing. Like you had no time to react to it. It was just like he's going into the swing. Danielson takes an orange punch and a Rainmaker combo. But then Claudio eventually picks up the win for Blackpool with the very European uppercut on Cassidy, which is just a pop up into the uppercut. And then there's like a bit of a stare down whole shebang after.
The locker room empties, it felt like a whole bunch of best friends come out. Hook comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
A
like
bunch
it
of
was
people.
like a whole deal. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of people out there.
So commentary pointed a couple things. I not that I forgot, but it was nice they reminded us that Okada broke Danielson's arm at Forbidden Door, right? That adds at least like, okay, it's not as random.
Yeah, I do remember like they do have the history from that.
And it's the first time Danielson and Cassidy have ever faced each other, which I thought was
Also
interesting. Easily the best match on the show, but still kind of felt thrown together, right? Like independent of any storyline, really. I thought there was really good chemistry between Claudio and Orange Cassidy. Their bits were really entertaining, I thought.
Well, Cassie's defending against him next week, so
nice.
That's good.
And I thought the final, like, more frantic few minutes of this were really entertaining. So I thought like a good main event, not an amazing one, but still the best match on this show, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Finish your cheese.
Okay, my cheese is finished. I thought it was a pretty good TV tag as well. It was a little thrown together, but really solid in-ring action. Saved the show a little. Cool to see Okada again, considering on AEW we've only ever seen him wrestle on both of the Forbidden Door shows.
Yep.
I was there for one.
Me too. I saw you there.
Really?
In the seat right beside me.
I think, yeah, you were sitting with that guy who
the drunk
fell
guy.
down. Yeah. Did you fall down?
Nope.
Okay.
I tried to help him, but he was gone. He fell fast. Steep up there.
It is true. Yeah, stairs are dangerous, and good thing he just missed like a regular house show though.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't miss anything.
No, nothing life changing or
Nope.
year defining.
Just
or
average
something like
matches
that.
at best.
No, nothing I would ever rewatch multiple times over
Right.
and over and praise forever incredibly highly. Extremely random here, but it got him and Danielson in the same match again, so you can't complain about that. And you better not complain about that.
I won't.
Mr. Danielson fanboy guy.
I do love Danielson.
Solid stuff here. I thought Claudio had a couple crazy bits again. Like he really showed out here. Just the switch and the swing was so clean. It's one of those things where it's like you can't get over that.
Him and Cassidy was sweet together.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Next week for sure. One of the better swings he's done for sure. The end stretch, like you said, with everyone hitting a bunch of stuff was really hectic in a good way. Claudio getting the pin here is good for him. Look forward to him versus Cassidy. Get Cassidy's reign back on track. I feel like Cassie's run last time started out a little rocky. I think once he finds footing with some sick open challenges, can get back on track. So hopefully he faces Claudio, get something there. If I don't think he did it the first time. So can you just give Takeshita a shot, maybe? Or if you want to save that for Takeshita winning the belt, that's also okay.
That was acceptable.
That is fully acceptable. Think Takeshita, he's international. He's an international fella.
He is. So overall, obviously not a huge fan of this show. I thought it was strange. Like, think about this. With every match other than the opener, I felt that I could ask why and not have a good answer, right? Like every other match on this show. Why? Don't know. Why Cassidy and Okada against Blackpool? Don't know. Why Ruby Soho and Shida? Don't know. Don't know why they would have a match.
I think I do know for the main event, but I forgot because it's some like...
Why do the Hardys and Brothers A get a 6-man tag? Don't know. Right? Like, honestly, why are Hook and RVD in a tag team against Dark Order? I don't know. Again, I felt like this was like audibles. If they came out later in the news next week and were like, well, it turns out like 20 people had COVID and they had to rewrite.
Oh, right.
They had to
You
rewrite Sunday's thing or last week's thing. It would make sense to me. But anyways, too many aging veterans. I talked about that. Not enough younger talent or premier talent. I didn't feel like on this show. Some MJF, but not in a match. Kenny, but a sighting, not in a match. I don't think any matches really stood out.
No, Don Callis.
Neither did any segments or anything, right? So I would say there haven't been more than a handful of episodes I liked less than this one. Really disappointing for me. felt like a house show or like one of AEW's lesser programs and not Dynamite. I gave it a C minus, which I don't know if I've been much lower than that before. I did not enjoy this show very much. Um, you? What did you
This
think?
is on the Dynamite curve, of course.
It is. It's comparing it to itself, right? Like, was it a terrible wrestling show? No, but relative to what they usually give me, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, this is not a banner episode, super below standard. The main event was really fun, but not, again, like, it kind of came out of left field. Women's match was lame and also came out of left field. The six-man tag match was meh and also came out of left field. And Rob Van Dam came completely out of left field. Why? Opener was solid, and that one actually made sense. I thought the segment after that was a lot, but I thought it was generally pretty good. Sting segment sucked.
Christian was a high point.
Christian saved it for me. Jericho, whatever. Edge, whatever. Yeah, just nothing really to enjoy on the show. I think I liked a couple things a little more, so I'm going to give it a C, but just not a banner Dynamite.
Nope. Okay, well, now we're going to switch gears and do a little bit of trivia, and we call that segment Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I'm hitting you with some Halloween Havoc trivia, and it is ChatGPT generated, so we'll see how they're doing. I asked, can you generate a list of 15 matches going back and forth between some of the best and some of the worst Halloween Havoc wrestling matches?
Don't be negative. They hate that.
Can you summarize some of the story leading up to each match? So it alternates between good and bad as far as I can tell. So first one, good. 1997, title versus mask. Any guesses?
Mysterio and Guerrero.
Correct. Did you know for sure or just...
I knew for sure. Because that one's pretty famous, and that's the one where Ray wore the purple bodysuit.
Yep.
And also, I played that in the 2K22 showcase.
It says this bout was a culmination of their intense rivalry, showcasing high flying and technical wrestling. True.
It's WCW Cruiserweight, so.
So bad now. This is very funny. 1998. Two megastars, and we
Hogan
just
and
watched
Warrior.
it.
Yeah, it was on the network, and we watched it. Oh my! We were counting the.
We played a fun game of count the bumps, and I think Hogan took 5.
I think it was like 5-3 for
8
Hogan
bumps,
or something.
and it was a pretty lengthy match. They did a lot of walking around.
At one point, the ref had taken the same amount of back bumps as Warrior.
That's right.
At one point,
that's right. They were tied 1 apiece.
Horace Hogan showed up though, so that was.
It was bad. That was a bad match.
It was one of the worst, best things I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's that era. It's getting close to the bad days of 99
let me just
and on.
say, like, for better,
like the wheels start to wobble in 98, and like they come off at like
for
99.
better for worse. That's something I think every wrestling fan needs to watch.
What about that?
Like, oh, I would love to. You want to talk about how like the Ospreay Omega match kind of killed Okada Danielson? Well, I would love to watch that match and just be like, oh, you want to watch Hogan and Warrior?
Just like, not to, I hate that term, but like the work rate was like
normally that's not a huge deal because you can have a good match without like an amazing work rate. But like
nothing.
The work rate there is non-existent.
Remember Hogan took like 2 or 3 bumps in a row? That was crazy.
It was like, yeah, some of them were light though, like where you can't count as back bumps.
No, they were like on the side or gently. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, back.
So many, like their arms must have hurt after because, like, well, it's because they worked each other's arms over so much that they couldn't like pick each other up.
There's a lot of like.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Although Warrior did look solid missing the Ultimate Splash once because he'd like land on.
He went for it. Good match. Cruiserweight Championship 1996. Long-standing feud over the Cruiserweight title. Showcase of one man's technical prowess against the other's high-flying style.
Is it 6 in someone?
It is not.
Malenko?
Correct. He's the technician and the high-flying.
6.
May have been mentioned already, this trivia.
Hulk Hogan. Duh. Nailed it.
Yep,
Nailed it.
That's it.
Right, we're done here.
Mysterio again.
That's what I was going to say.
A bad one, I would assume. And I think you know this one. Monster Truck Sumo match.
Well, that's like half the match. That's like, well, that's half the story because there was the normal match after, which is equally bad.
Right.
Giant and Hogan.
Correct.
Well, because there's like, let's paint the full picture here. We had the Monster Truck Sumo match, which was just 5 minutes or so of monster trucks going back and forth, pushing
so
each other.
Entertaining.
Then they fight on the roof, and Hogan hits Giant and actually knocks him off the roof of the building. So he basically kills the Giant. Then Hogan comes out, and bear in mind this is after Judgment of Doom shaved Hogan's mustache, so it's bare-faced Hogan, which is like
shocking.
One of the strangest things that is ever in the history of human existence. And then Giant somehow survives, comes back out for his match, and this is the one where the Yeti comes out,
Yeah,
which is
Yeti.
basically like a 7-foot dude wrapped in toilet paper, and
Yep.
then him and
They hug it
Giant proceed to quote unquote double bear hug Hogan. They basically hump Hogan
They
to
do.
death.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure this is where Giant won the title by disqualification because WCW allowed that for some reason.
It's a legendary
And
match.
It's legendarily stupid. Honestly, since I've seen Hogan Warrior, I think we need to watch that because like mid '90s WCW I think that would have been '95.
Buddy, that's my wheelhouse. Let's go.
That what was it? I think that might have been '95.
What,
though.
the monster truck? Yeah, it was.
I think. Oh, did you
Yep,
say 96? Okay, I thought you said 96.
No, that was the match before. That
Oh,
was
right.
Mysterio.
My bad. Okay, but yeah, like pre NW or pre Nitro, or no,
that's when I was really into it.
Pre Nitro, is not as bad as like '99, 2000, but it's still like horrible. Like the Hulkamania crap.
Yep.
I need to watch that. I need to see the Iron Lion stand to Hulkamania. You know the triple cage thing. I want to see that.
We can watch that.
I want to find
my
that.
wheelhouse. 1992 Spin the Wheel Make the Deal Coal Miners Glove match. I believe this was considered a good one.
I know it's Jake Roberts.
Correct.
Because I know it was him.
Someone we may have just complained a bunch about on Dynamite. Take your pick. Trust your instincts, my son. Correct.
Really? Okay.
Yep. At least according to this.
That's weird.
Can't count on me to fact check
92?
Yep. 1993 title versus career.
Flair and...
Nope. Someone who's retiring shortly.
Jericho. I'm just kidding. That's wishful thinking. Sting.
Yep. Versus someone
Vader?
whose name came up earlier. Big guy.
Abdullah the Butcher.
Name came up not while we were recording. Sid Vicious. I don't know how to get you there.
Oh, when were we talking? Why? Oh, because I was watching a video. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Sorry. 92. Sting beat Jake Roberts. Yeah. Cool Miners Club. That sounds so lame.
So
That's the main event.
1990 NWA World Heavyweight Championship match. This would be one of the good ones.
Sorry, I was just talking. Go again.
NWA World Heavyweight Championship match, 1990. Classic encounter. Two superstars rivalry reached a pinnacle at this time.
This is good.
Showcasing the class of two wrestling icons.
Good.
What? Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
Sting and Flair.
Yes. I was just going to say, like, famous opponents, whatever.
That's what I thought of, yeah.
Dipping back into the bad because it's 2000, so it couldn't have been good because I don't know if there's anything good at that point. Honestly, like I'm trying to be funny, but that might actually be true.
I don't know if it is
because every match is 20,000 run-ins and no finishes and just craziness. Anyways, 2000 WCW World Heavyweight Championship match. One man aligned with the New Blood faction, which is funny because he was one of the old guys even then, or one of the veterans. Put himself in the new, correct?
Yeah.
Obviously, versus who?
Not Hogan, because I think he was gone. Brett?
No.
No, he was injured.
Same
at this
person
point.
that's been in the last two matches.
Sting?
Correct. So yeah, Jarrett's like, oh, I'm with all these young people. Like, I think it was Jindrak and
probably
Palumbo and Jeff Jarrett.
Well, the funny part is, too, is that the way that Cultaholic put it, because I think I was
maybe
watching
O'Hare.
them talking about it. Probably, yeah. Sean O'Hare.
I thought he was cool back in the day.
Did you say Stasiak already? Probably Stasiak, too.
Oh, yeah, probably. Maybe Mike Sanders. I don't know if that's the right timing.
Mike Awesome? I don't know. But, like, the old guys clinging to their spot, like Hogan and all them, are the baby faces, and then the New Blood are heels. Like,
yeah.
Of course, also...
Exactly.
Of course, also Russo and Bischoff attach themselves to the cool young guys, like them and Jarrett attach themselves. I was worried you were going to say NWO 2000. When you said started to make the N sound, I was like, NWO 2000.
No. Next one. I guess this was good. 1999 strap match.
That doesn't sound good. Just because you said 1999 strap match.
Yes. It's going to be tough.
Sting.
Somebody we complained about on Dynamite, not Sting.
Ric Flair.
Correct.
Bischoff?
No.
Why did I think Bischoff?
Someone
Russo.
that got buried in
David Flair.
when he went to WWE.
That applies to so many. DDP?
Correct. You know where I'm going.
Yeah, because he got like...
I'll be surprised if you get this. 1994 non-sanctioned strap match.
Why? So wait, one's good and one's bad?
Formerly known as the Big Boss Man.
Oh, what's it, like Big Bubba Rogers or something?
No, he was the Guardian Angel at that point.
I don't even know.
Against another dominant big man who is a killer in Japan. WWE
Vader?
wasted him, yes.
Yeah, because he didn't have a match with Shawn Michaels, and then Shawn's like, no.
Light heavyweight championship match from 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 1991. 19
WCW had a light heavyweight title?
Apparently, according to
That's-
who knows, according to Chad
That's the
GPT.
first time hearing it. This is 91.
So his
look it up
son's
now.
in AEW,
Arn Anderson?
or sorry, his son's in NXT recently.
Pillman?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Ricky Morton. You're not going to get that.
No. Okay, wait. So that's 91. I've never heard of that. That they had a Oh yeah. So it was
That's
the
right.
inaugural light heavyweight title. Okay, I don't even know what this belt looks like.
Couple more. 1998 World Television Championship match.
That just looks like the TV title. Weird.
So
Okay.
1998 World Television Championship.
Rick Steiner.
No. One is in AEW and one has been in Impact lately and shouldn't be.
Oh, but no.
Or shouldn't be wrestling. I mean, he looks super old lately.
PCO.
Raven and Jericho.
Nah, I don't think I would have gotten there.
How about Las Vegas?
I should have thought of Jericho though.
I don't remember this one. 1997 Las Vegas sudden death match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, if that's true.
97.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking Starrcade 97. Halloween Havoc 97. Hogan and someone, right?
No.
Wait.
One of Hogan's biggest rivals in WWE, though.
Savage.
Correct. And somebody mentioned in a previous match who was buried in WWE.
Vader.
No.
DDP.
Yes.
Savage and DDP.
Good.
Okay. 97.
That was tough. Some of those are before your time. I'd do better in... No, I wouldn't. Who am I? I was going to say, I used to watch that, but I still wouldn't do better.
I don't know if you would do better if I'm being honest.
Not bad. All right, we'll go into our final segment now where we talk about other stuff from the week of wrestling, and we call that Highspots and Restholds. All right, so you said there was nothing exciting
it's
on
the
Raw?
same crap every week. It's like now that the Bloodline's gone or whatever, it's like every week the Judgment Day and Cody Rhodes either open the show or
Right.
they end the show.
Because
Or
they're
both.
the replacement for Bloodline.
But the Bloodline's still going on SmackDown. It's like now just because they can't actually have the Bloodline everywhere, they have to like. So but it's like the Judgment Day's not as complex as the Bloodline, so it doesn't really work because they just like it's always a repeat. I don't know.
So I'm going to quickly run down Bound for Glory because it happened before NXT. Then I'll talk NXT.
Right, we probably should
quickly.
have done that first, just based on the order.
Right, I probably should have. So, yeah, like I said, this week's episode of Impact was just a replay of a lot, if not quite all, but most of Bound for Glory. So the opening match was Kenta versus Chris Sabin for the X Division title. Really good match. Sabin ended up winning with a cradle shock. Only 11 minutes. A couple matches on this show were really quick, which seems to be kind of what TNA can call it that now. They kind of do. Really good back and forth. And I told you it's clear the influence Kenta had on Danielson because there's a lot of the offense is clearly just lifted from Kenta. You can see a lot of
They
his
have
stuff
worked
there.
together.
Great choice for an opener. Really good match. High pace on that one. Then we got the four-way Monsters Ball match, which was Moose, Macklin, PCO, and Rhino. Honestly, it was pretty fun for what it was. I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. Honestly, in this, Rhino was missing for so long, I forgot he was in this. And I was literally going, I thought this was a four-way. Who's the fourth person? He was like just, I don't know if he's down at ringside or whatever. PCO took a couple wicked bumps. One was he got backdropped from inside the ring out onto a ladder spanning from the apron to the barricade. He does not land gracefully at this point in his career. Maybe never. He's a big dude, but especially at 50, whatever, right? So then he also got powerbombed onto a bed of concrete outside the ring on the floor. It also had tacks on it. He almost missed the tacks, but he did end up with some stuck in the back of his head. So I don't think it was quite what they wanted, but it's still, he was finished the match with tacks stuck in his head. So PCO did end up winning this. He hit the deanimator to Moose. It looks so unsafe. And even this was only a 13 minutes with four people.
Is the deanimator the one where
It's like a
the
senton off
cannonball on the apron?
right onto the apron, where it just
And
looks
he
like
just
he's killing the
it
person.
looks like the heaviest landing on planet Earth.
Correct.
No matter
Which is,
what.
I guess, good, but like,
No,
I think
it's
he's
not
hurting
because
people.
like it's
It's gonna
there's
kill
ways
someone.
to get like a good look without like just full sending onto the
Yes,
apron.
I agree. So like the opener, this felt a few minutes were missing from it. Could have been a bit longer, but enjoyable enough, like a basic no DQ match with four people, right? Then I thought this was really good too. The tag team championships were defended by the Rascals taking on ABC, which is Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Really good tag match. The Rascals, of course, taking shortcuts whenever they can. Really fast-paced, high-flying action, what you would expect from both of these teams. and ABC hit the Art of Finesse fold combination. Again, only 10 minutes long to become champs. Really good action. Felt a bit short. Kind of nitpicking a good match, but could have been longer. Then we got the match that stole this show that I've watched twice, that you watched. And again, it was 18 minutes. And unfortunately, when you watched it on the TV, it was like 5 to 6 minutes of it would have been commercials because there were 2 breaks. So you
I
almost
thought,
lost a
like,
third of the match, and it kind of kills the momentum.
I thought they would just resume the match when they I didn't
No, they were cutting
think
stuff
there was
out.
cuts, but hopefully they
I'm pretty
cut,
sure. I felt like it was stuff
hopefully
missing.
they cut the right parts, but I don't. I
Sorry,
don't
we're
know.
referring to Will Ospreay taking on Mike Bailey. 18 minutes. I thought this was fantastic. The final third of it or so, once that kick exchange, right, that they had was
Kicks were insane.
crazy. The kicks they had are
I liked it a lot, but I think I liked it a little less than I should because after Osprey Omega, I refuse to like anything more.
Right.
So if anything comes close, I'm just like, no.
this made my list for end of the year. I thought
It
it
was
was
pretty sweet,
phenomenal.
yeah.
I recommend people go check it out. Osprey's probably the wrestler of the year. And
He'll make my, like, I don't know, he would probably make our overall category because we
Yeah.
don't, like, he doesn't really fit into AEW or WWE.
No. And Bailey does nothing but have awesome matches against everybody. Some of the exchanges, especially kicking.
Bailey's kicks are crazy, but Osprey just nailed him in the face with so many super kicks. Or that hook around heel kick
looked
he does,
amazing.
I love that so much because it's like a super kick, but he's like coming from behind kind of.
And Osprey's suddenness, right? Like when he followed in with the hidden blade. Well, when Bailey was about to do the crazy spinning kick thing, and Osprey just came out of nowhere and nailed him with the hidden blade. Just the explosiveness of Osprey is like next level, right? Bailey got dumped on his head, right? What's that called? The driver that he
The
killed?
Flamingo driver?
No, the
Oh, the Storm driver?
yeah, Storm driver, right? So he hit that to Bailey, really high angle, not quite as high as Kenny Omega, but still looked really bad. Then a hidden blade Stormbreaker. Osprey wins as expected. Awesome match. Go check it out. The CYS. Oh, control. Nope. Call your shot. Gauntlet
Control
match,
your narrative
which is
gauntlet.
their Royal Rumble-ish kind of thing, but I think it's only 20 of them, right? So long
I
story
think so,
short,
yeah.
surprise entrances: Sunny Kiss, Matt Cardona, Juventud Guerrera. Final 4, because it was men and women mixed together, was kind of cool. Jordan Grace, Kylan King, Bully Ray, Matt Cardona were the final 4. But then Bully and Grace clotheslined the other 2 out like almost immediately. So you end up with Bully Ray and Jordan Grace. The finish comes multiple backfists and a Grace driver. Pretty actually impressive that she got Bully Ray up for a clean Grace driver.
I think I saw it. Yeah.
That's no joke. So Jordan Grace wins after 30 minutes. I don't think the actual match was anything special. It ate up a half hour of the show. Feels like a couple of minutes could have been given to other matches before this. Again, the finishing sequence was impressive for Jordan Grace, and she immediately called her shot for the Knockouts title at Hard to Kill. So I like Jordan Grace.
When we get
I'm
TNA,
fine with that.
she'll be the first the new TNA Knockouts champion.
Right. In a match I didn't really like that much, it was Trinity successfully defending the Knockouts title against Mickie James. Another quicker than expected, like 11 minutes. I thought it was fine. Some of the action was a bit slow. I'm on the record as not being a huge fan of Trinity's in-ring style. I think she's very WWE, a lot of flash and not as much substance as I would like in a wrestling match. And I really do like the Knockouts division in general. I would not have either of these 2 women in the spotlight. I think there's lots of better options.
I was
that they
telling
could go
you
with.
that, like, seems like they just gave up on the last rodeo. Like, it's just
Yeah.
not a thing. She gave up the title, so now it doesn't matter, I guess.
Well, even in a promo, she was like, "This isn't my first rodeo," and then she like had to catch herself and be, "And it's not my last." Or I don't know. There was some sort of awkwardness in a promo, and then the main event, it was Alex Shelley successfully defending the Impact World Championship against Josh Alexander. 22 minutes, highly competitive back and forth. Good chunk of time brawling on the floor early. It was a story of Alexander trying to get his C4, which is an awesome move and ends matches, and Shelley finding ways to avoid it. We got a chaos theory by Alexander. We got a shell shock kind of into the barricade, right? A sliced bread out on the floor that looked good. You had Alexander then going after Shelley's knee. And then 2 shell shocks in a row that both looked pretty good.
I like the way Alexander
first
sells
one
it. Yeah,
looked
like,
really good.
That's the way I like people sell, just kind of like the spike DDT kind of way.
So
I like that.
Huge win for Alex Shelley. I can't imagine they're doing anything other than setting up option C, probably for Hard to Kill as well, right? Where you'd have Sabin challenging, you have the Motor City Machine Guns explode sort of
That'd be
thing.
pretty sweet.
Which is good. They're like Impact TNA not originals, but they were way
You
back
know
in the
if
day.
there's like a requirement for option C? Because like I know like the
No,
way they did it when Tyrus was
you had to
TV
have it
champion
so
in
long.
NWA, he had to like defend it 7 times
I
or
don't
whatever.
know.
Because I remember when they first did option C, it was like you could cash in your shot or not at Destination X because they
Yeah,
had the X Division pay per
right.
view. But now they don't have that, so it's like you could do it whenever you want. So
I don't know what
hypothetically,
the
like,
criteria
because
is.
I don't think there is one. Because didn't remember when Kaz
So you could
did
the first day you
option
have it, just
C. That's what I'm thinking,
cash
right?
it in.
Because Kaz had option C after he beat Bailey for no reason. But remember, he didn't have the title that long,
Right.
if I recall.
I
Right?
don't
Because
know.
like he won it from Bailey, and like a week later, or so he just like did option C. So I wish there was at least some sort of like requirement to fill with
Yeah,
the
I
title,
don't think
like
there is.
certain amount of days or certain amount of defenses. So like then maybe you had X Division title matches on TV for a reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like.
Yep.
I don't know, cause like without the requirements, just like you win the title, and you're just like, oh, can I have
Cash it in.
my title shot, please?
Yeah.
Like,
Overall, really good show. Osprey Bailey stole the show. Opener, tag title match, main event were really good. Thought Monsters Ball was pretty enjoyable. I'd say an A- show. Suffered slightly just from two of the stronger matches, Kenta and Saban and Osprey. Those matches felt like they didn't really have any build, just kind of out of nowhere, but good matches. Good offering from excuse me, from Impact ahead of their rebranding in a few months. NXT was Halloween Havoc, and we had New Year's Day playing the theme Vampire, and sure
that
seemed to
was
me like
boring.
it was being lip synced.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It sounded too good to be done live. They do the thing where they preview all the matches in video package as the band plays, as NXT tends to do.
Miss Poppy. Poppy was good.
So yeah, I did like the opener was Kiana James and Roxanne Perez in a Devil's Playground match. I think you saw a
I
bit of
did.
this.
I hated the finish. I
It's
hated it.
basically Falls Count Anywhere. Some
Yeah.
of the props were kind of lame, right? They had a kiddie pool, a toddler slide, a swing
Playground.
set, a teeter totter. Is
Yeah.
this? But would the Devil have little kids things in their playground?
They're taking the playground too literally.
Right.
At
So
the same time, they also call Hell in a Cell Devil's Playground. So
true. Perez gets suplexed on the floor. James gets a laptop from her purse and hits Perez with it. Some point during the break, there's a chain introduced, and Perez uses the swing and swings into James as James is holding the trash can. Perez breaks a piece of the decorative fence over Kiana James' back and then hits a Russian leg sweep onto the little slide that was there. Kiana James then springs Perez hard into the barricade. I thought that looked good, and power bombs her on a trash can for a near fall. James then kind of pulls the teeter-totter apart and uses it to hit and choke Roxanne with it. James misses a moonsault off the barricade. Perez hits James with the loaded purse, and then the pop rocks onto the bag for the win, and it breaks the brick that's inside the purse. That's how big that pop
that's
rocks
what
was.
that A, it looked
Bricks,
lame.
bricks, man.
And B, like, why did it break the brick? That bothered me.
It went by really quickly. It was only about 10 minutes. It feels like a PG era Last Man Standing, right? Like, it's hard to compare it to anything you'd see on Dynamite because
It also doesn't help, like, just having such a small arena, because at least
know.
in Falls Anywhere and
there's
like,
nowhere to go.
main roster, they brawl in the crowd, which is not always the most interesting thing, but at least it like keeps it like there's just a wide range of places to go,
Yeah.
and they can go backstage, but they're not really going to go anywhere here.
No. I thought it was a good showing for Kiana James. She looked a bit more vicious than usual, but I thought the props they were given to work with were kind of silly. Some of the spots looked less impactful than they could have, I think. And a quarter of this quick match was during a commercial, so I thought it was still fun, and it got the crowd into the show. High spot, I liked. You had Mello sitting down with Vic Joseph, denying that he's the one that attacked Trick. And he's definitely speaking with a bit more edge in his voice, and he actually gets up and leaves before Vic can finish the questions he had prepared. I like this. Mello's kind of annoyed by the implication that he attacked Trick. He said his motivation's stronger than ever, and that he's removed all the distractions, which I thought was an interesting choice of words, right? That his buddy's a distraction sort of thing. And removed him, does that mean you took him out, obviously? And they come back to that throughout this episode. Multiple people sort of accuse or assume Mello took out Trick, and Mello denies it every
I
time.
assume it too.
I did not think the debut of Lexus King was very impressive. He took on Dante Chen, and
I hated his finisher.
they made the interesting choice to have this like be even. Like Dante Chen got a lot in this, and I don't understand why that would be the case. We got a
Because
kind of
Dante Chen's a superstar.
it's kind of evenly matched, and then there's a headbutt from Lexus King because I guess he's a heel, gives him the advantage. Chen then gets another flurry with some strikes and a drop kick, and we get corner offense from King, ends in like a boot choke, uses both of his feet while kind of holding on to the ropes and being horizontal, running crossface from behind, kick and a chin lock. that Chen breaks out of. Another flurry of offense, ending in an atomic drop and something I forgot to write down for Chen. And then a sudden kick and a twisting neck breaker out of the ropes. And King wins after 4
His
minutes.
finisher was super lame. It was like a straight jacket draping neckbreaker. Like the setup was super convoluted and the payoff was not really worth it.
I don't think King stood out any more than Chen did here, to be perfectly honest. I thought his finisher didn't look very impactful.
Nope.
For a debut, I don't think there was anything notable about King in this match. He did, I will say, feel different than Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW, but I don't know if it's better or worse because this was not like soup. For a guy you've had vignettes for weeks, although the same vignette for the most part.
Slightly different.
But like this is what you did. You had him face a nobody and like squeak out a win kind of thing. Odd choice, I thought. We got Ariana Grace and Kalani Jordan in the semifinal match for the breakout tournament for the women. Really basic, felt longer than the 8 minutes it got. I don't know why they got so much time here. Neither of them are experienced and it's shown in this tournament. Nothing special. The crowd wasn't really into it until it was over. And it was Kalani Jordan, as you would expect, winning with the moonsault to advance to the finals. Vaughn is a bad actor, does not want Robert Stone taking the match against Braun. Stone then refers to Vaughn and his friend, and like Vaughn has to stop short and be like, "Did you just call me your friend? Like for real?" sort of thing. So Vaughn says he can't be there to help Stone with that match, and he gets back to his rehab as Stone leaves. So Vaughn's acting isn't good, but I'm not hating the story, right? He's not a great performer in this capacity. And again, I think Braun kills Stone, and then that's more motivation for Vaughn to like do his rehab and come back and probably get a nice reception when he returns.
Like
right?
table someone.
Yeah, exactly. I was annoyed every time Shotzi and Scarlett got screen time. Right?
What?
They were the hosts of this show, and it happens a few times throughout the show. And
I love them both so much though.
Every time they're overacting and leaning too far into the spooky stuff. They spin the wheel for the Creeds to get a TLS match, tables, ladders, and scares, ha ha ha, for Angel and Umberto next week.
But it's like the match isn't for anything though, so what are they gonna grab?
I find this cheesy, so I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see. Tables, ladders, and probably just a pinfall, right?
That's lame then.
Chase U faced the family for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and Thea Hale and JC Jane are there to support Chase U. A lot of stacks in peril, then a Tony Hot tag near the beginning of this. Some tandem offense from both teams. There was a nice uppercut suplex combination from the family I thought looked good. Huge boot from Hudson to Stacks as Stacks jumps off the apron to the floor. Superplex headbutt combination by the family for a near fall. And then their family finisher is countered into a roll-up for a near fall. Jane then introduces a crowbar, tries to give it to Andre Chase, but Chase refuses to use it. Tony runs the ropes and then knocks JC Jane off the apron to the floor. And as he's kind of looking out to the floor, Chase uses it's like his legs to roll up Tony. I don't forget what it's called. After 11 minutes, so Chase U win the tag team titles.
That surprised me. That feels like a weird.
It's kind of nice little reward. Like, hey, you guys have contributed a ton to like mid card comedy stuff. So
I just like, can Andre Chase wear some wrestling gear, please?
And
because Duke Hudson has the shirt, but he still has wrestling gear. So can Chase just not wrestle in the sweater?
It's part of his thing now. I think where they're going, because they kind of do it later, it's like Chase is losing control of the group. It's almost like JC Jane is having more influence on them than Chase is, and you can see that that's kind of coming.
That's always a good thing. You want JC Jane's influence.
And honestly, the family's run as tag team champions didn't do anything for me. I thought this was a pretty good TV tag match. Felt a bit short, a bit of a complicated finish, but other than that,
good for them. But we are long removed from the days of the Undisputed Era.
We are. The hard-hitting home truths I'm out on officially. He was talking about Dominic Mysterio this week, and I don't know if it's Fraser's delivery or the segments in general, but I do not like the tone of these. I find Fraser almost annoying, and when I wasn't sure if he was a heel or a babyface, I was like, okay, if he's a heel and he's being a little obnoxious, but he's not, right?
He's definitely not a heel.
So I don't like these for him. I think he's super talented, but
I love playing as Fraser on 2K.
This isn't
super fun.
it. Then we got Gigi Dolan and Davenport's first name is not Lindsay. That's the tennis player. Why is this so hard? Davenport. What's her name?
Blair.
Oh my god.
What are you
never going to get there. Lindsay.
Right.
Because of the tennis player. So not a fan of Lights Out because literally like they turned Lights Out so they're wrestling in like
Oh, I did
low
see
light conditions.
the beginning of this, and like it bothers me because like again, like the playground bit, they take lights out too literally. Like the AEW ones are cool because they have the records, and so it's like off the records and lights out's kind of like metaphorical.
Yeah,
But this is just
literal.
like literal, and it's so stupid. I hate it.
I said
It's
I have a note. Jack likes
horrible.
Davenport's in-ring pre-match laser stuff.
Yeah, because it's like they had the laser thing. You know, Charlotte has the diamond. It was like
Yeah,
the laser was like that shield logo that was
yeah, and
around her.
she's
That was
standing in the
cool.
middle of it.
That was cool.
We got a Dolan Meteora off the apron to Davenport on a chair that looked pretty good. Dolan gets a table out at the fans' request. Davenport then uses her belt to whip Gigi. Gigi a little bit later gets a belt of her own and returns the favor. The crowd just keeps chanting for tables. I would like to think probably because they were kind of bored by this. I was. Davenport goes and
They need
gets
to
another
fix
one.
the tables. Von Wagner's not here.
So Davenport, I think, forgot they already got a table and gets another one. And even commentary is kind of like, I guess she didn't like that other table. And then it's her versus the table setting it up. And the crowd, once she got it set up, like mockingly cheered her. Because you know when she's trying to set it up from one side and couldn't do it and had to like walk around to the other, and the crowd was making fun of her. Trash can
Gotta love
shot
that.
gives Gigi the advantage, and then she side slams Davenport on a trash can. Davenport clears off the announce table. She and Dolan battle on top of it. Davenport does a release Falcon Arrow from the announce table through the other table that was set up at ringside, puts Dolan in the ring, hits her with a knee strike, and pins her after 13 minutes. Slow match, lots of walking around. We already had a women's match that felt really similar to this, just with better lighting.
And that you could pin beside the ring instead of in it.
The finishing spot was fine, but I thought that most of this was pretty ordinary. I kind of like Davenport, but she hasn't been really impressive in NXT. I think she needs a feud with another strong performer to get me more
But
interested.
yeah, because when she was feuding with Mako in UK, she
It was good.
solid, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause
like those.
Mako's someone you could feud with.
Yeah. Made me laugh because I didn't even know what was going on, but it was Fallon Henley was dressed up like Tiffany Stratton and like mocking her to her face, so that was kind of entertaining. We then got the other semifinal in the women's Rakeout tournament. Yes, that's right. It's Lola Vice and Carmen Petrovic. So I have MMA Dream Match, ha ha ha, as my first note. There was a decent spinning kick to Vice's back on the ground. Lots of kicks. Some of them look good, some of them don't. Some of Petrovic's stuff is still a little bit off, I think. Anyways, Petrovic hits a dive to the floor, brings Vice back in the ring where Vice ducks a kick, hits the black mass or whatever she's calling it for the win in less than 4 minutes. Nothing great. This tournament has not been awesome. Someone took Noam Dar's Heritage Cup. He shows a picture of the culprit on his phone. I couldn't make out who it was. Turns out I went and looked. It's Tozawa. And he's saying you have to come and get it. And guess from where? Did you see this? What do you think NXT likes to do on these Halloween Havocs? Think about it.
Haunted house.
Correct.
Oh,
I think he's going to the same place. And then we had the main event, which was Lyra Valkyria challenging Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. Story of the challenger being really well prepared and having blocks and counters to like her hero's signature offense, which I thought was pretty cool idea. Lyra hit a nice guillotine leg drop to Becky hanging in the ropes for 2. She hit a nice fisherman buster for 2 and a power bomb for 2. Lyra hit the black mass, sort of one of her finishing kicks, and Lynch kicked out of it. She hit a
Didn't
hot.
Lola Vice do that too?
She does, yeah.
They, they're all inferior.
Lynch hit a high angle manhandle slam that looked good, and Lyra kicked out. So that's nice that she got a kick out of a strong looking manhandle slam. So Lynch goes for another manhandle slam, but Lyra's ready this time. She rolls up Lynch to get the win and become the NXT Women's Champion here. I thought it was a good match with a steady pace and a good story to tell. The crowd was really energetic and added a lot to this. They were quite into it. I think I probably liked Lynch Stratton better, which is surprising because I'm a big Lyra Valkyria fan, but I still thought this was a good match. I would nitpick it a little bit. Some of Lyra's strikes lacked impact, and they usually don't. And Becky Lynch was talking a lot, like to Lyra at times and to the referee at times. Like clearly she was running this match, right? Which is fine, but I don't usually find it that obvious.
Like
but,
calling spots or just like
yes,
saying things?
like literally,
Oh.
like okay, we're going to do as they're leaning into the ropes. You can
That's-
see Becky leaning in and talking to her.
That's
And I don't know what
worse
she
then.
was saying to the ref, but I'm really happy for Lyra. I've seen something in her since her time in NXT UK. She just needed to ditch the bird gimmick stuff, which she has, and become more
What's
of
her thing then?
a real person. It's just that now she's a person and she doesn't take any crap from anyone, basically. I think
that is
she
unique.
I think she can hang with anyone in ring, and she just needs to continue tweaking the character. But a good main event. Not the best show ever, but a watchable show at least. And I guess
Watchable, nice.
I think that's bringing us to the end, right? We still made it
believe
over
so.
2 hours somehow. I don't know how we do that. But
Where there's
anyway,
a will, there's a way.
I'm supposed to be meeting some people out on the street right now. They're texting me and sending me pictures, so I should get down there.
I am not, because I have no life.
Correct. Well, I
Wow.
barely do, so.
That's true.
Anyways, that's going to bring us to the end of episode 171. We'll be back next Saturday for 172. Looks like it's impossible to record any good gold days. We got one match in.
We that's
then it
true.
all
We have
fell
I
apart.
have a document with
We
one
started.
match.
We have
If
proof.
in case, yeah, that's what I was thinking. In case anyone doesn't believe me that I did,
Jack
actually,
got to watch Camacho in a match.
it was not my fault that we didn't watch it. There's no procrastination involved.
Nope.
There's no
Stop letting
denying.
us.
It was not my fault.
Nope. But anyways,
To
we'll be
quote
back.
Snitsky.
We'll be back next Saturday to do this all over again. We hope to see you back. Tell some friends. Tell them to come and check it out as well. Contact us if you like. We'd love to hear from you. fnswrestling@gmail.com comes to me. FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram. Or leave a comment on YouTube. I reply to every comment that I notice that comes to me. And I think Jack will do the same. So anyways, we look forward to seeing you back here next week. And until then, everybody, take care.